Welcome to another episode of Reseller Revolution. My name's Scott.
And I'm Carl.
How's it going, Carl?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm all right. Just trying to get that radio announcement thing going on here.
Oh, once a week, get to practice, right?
Here's Carl.
Great. Okay. Whatever. Episode 66.
66, picking up sticks.
There you go. Good enough. Good enough.
Good enough. Picking up sticks. Have you picked up anything this week, Carl? Any good picks? Anything interesting?
Well, I went out yesterday. And it was kind of amusing. So it's just another one of those is like work your contacts a little bit, maybe, or it's good to do that stuff to the other person's benefit this time. So I went out and did my Value Villages run on Tuesday. And I don't like Tuesdays because they're really busy, and this was no exception. But I actually picked up a bunch of, ironically, considering we were bashing them just a few weeks ago, Funko Pops.
Oh, okay.
And they were good ones. And I made good friends with someone at the flea market. He's a younger guy, like 22, 23 kind of thing. And we had the kind of friendship where you can, make fun of each other and troll each other.
Yep.
So I sent him a picture on Facebook saying, "Oh, don't cry too much, but here's some pictures of what I just found," right?
Oh.
And we're going back and forth. And then I said, "Oh, I'm going to put these back." And he said, "Actually, I'll take that one." So, one of the Funkos I'm going to put back, I'm just going to give it to him for my cost, right?
Yeah.
But he's going to have it for the booth. And I was thinking, well, he got that sitting at home by going on Facebook, making friends with me. And he got, this is really good because I didn't want this Funko Pop because it only sells for about $20 maybe, and at 15 to 20, and I don't really want a Funko Pop in that range. But for him, that's good enough. And he says, I think we talked about it last week, but you're saying sometimes things sell for more in the market than they actually do online.
Yeah.
So whatever, he's going to take this one Funko Fallout one. There's another good Fallout one, but I'm keeping that one. He wanted that one because that one's worth like $50 or $60.
Yeah.
But I said, no, that's going on eBay.
So was it a large Funko?
No, these are regular sized.
Regular size, eh? Because go ahead.
Oh, this is hilarious. Someone donated their collection to multiple stores.
Oh.
There were not hundreds, but there were like a lot out there that I saw, and all the ones I didn't see. And everyone had Funko Pops. It was kind of funny. Everyone had Funko Pops in their carts.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, I picked up 6 or 7, I think, in the end, including the one for him. But there are some good ones out there. I'm sure I missed by not being fast enough. But
yeah, I know we were bashing them a couple of days ago, but
yeah.
I have about 6 months ago, like it would have been over the summer. Let me say maybe October. So is that 6 months ago roughly? Anyway, I picked up a Pennywise Funko.
Yeah.
And I got like $50 or $60 out of the booth on it. It was one of those things. The box was good and everything like that, but it's one of those things. It's just kind of, it was big. It was kind of big and bulky. Now, I think, and I was going to get your opinion on this. I think the prices have come down a little bit more for shipping on eBay. Have you noticed that? I've noticed that, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I shipped something for $6 and something the other day, and I was kind of shocked it was that cheap to United States. I don't know why.
Well, I'm finding more of like shipping local. Like I can ship to Quebec where it would cost me, I don't know, almost $20, $17 or something. But now it's like 11 or 12 for a certain size. Like I can't say for all sizes, but and it's been consistently like that. And I'm like, wow, like something's going on here. Like I don't know. Anyway, kind of digressing a little bit, but I was going to talk about that too.
Well, the eBay Lite is really good.
The eBay Lite is good, but Expedited Lite has been around for a bit now, right? Like, would you say a year?
Yeah, at least a year.
Yeah.
That's a lifesaver.
Americans might not know what we're talking about, but Canadians, it's a Canadian, because our shipping was like a lot more expensive. But within the last year, eBay must have made some deals with Canada Post,
Yes, they definitely
and they're
have.
definitely. I mean, honestly, I think it's reasonable for the service we get. I'm okay with it.
Yeah, it's funny. Everyone hearing the Americans complain about prices going up and all our costs are actually going down for shipping.
Yeah,
Now, that being said, I still rather have the American cost for shipping, which that their base is much lower than ours, but they're just used to low prices, and we're used to high prices, and now it goes to medium prices. We're pretty happy, right?
but it's not Canada wide where Americans are probably that cost for everybody, but only on eBay platform are we getting those discounts, right? Am I
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Okay.
So there is. You could always use the reshippers, which not everyone has access to.
Okay.
So I used to use Chit Chats a lot here in Ottawa.
Yeah.
But I found with the eBay labels,
Yeah.
the cost is about the same unless it's going to BC. And if it's going to BC, it can be like half the cost for some reason with Chit Chats. So, and maybe some other like really remote Canadian sites. I don't know why,
Yeah.
but and usually it doesn't really make sense to go out to Chit Chats, but for BC, I will. So, that's such a small window, small, percentage of my sales though.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yes, it is a lot cheaper, and I noticed the other week it was even cheaper. So I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. I almost thought there was a mistake. I had to kind of
Yeah,
go through
no,
and make sure I had all the
right dimensions.
like
Yeah,
measurements and everything
yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
'Cause I'm
I was
like,
doing the same thing. Yeah,
yeah, this is a little different, but um, yeah. So, anyways, there's that. But anyways, back to the Funko. It was fairly large, and back at that time, I might have done the same thing. It was one of those things where I think I could have got the same thing out of the booth, and I did, right. So I don't have to worry
hmm
about shipping. I don't have to worry about somebody complaining like there's a crunch in this corner or something. Not that there was, but you know, when they buy it, they like to buy it pristine as a collector,
it's
right?
very important for Funkos. Yeah, I have one that has a slight bend in the cover, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that one.
Yeah,
My problem is if I bring those good ones to the market, people are going to lowball me on them, and I'm not going to get. I don't. If I had like more Funkos, like if I have a collection of them, then I can put them out and wait on the valuable ones. But I really don't have. I think they're going to do better for me with less BS, honestly, online. So,
yeah. If
but I
you
could be
think
wrong.
somebody's lowballing, are you talking about like vendors, or are you talking
Yeah,
about
yeah,
so?
vendors mostly.
So
Yeah,
what I say here's what I say. Most of the time, it depends on the person, right? Because if the person has invited me to picks or has dealt with me very well in the past, I'm gonna without a brainer. Like I've even given them stuff for free.
well, I'm
But if
getting
it's
stuff
just a
for free
vendor
too.
that
Yeah,
keeps buying off you, that which is great,
yeah,
um, just say, listen, I just got this. You know what I mean? I can throw it on eBay, but I thought I'd try it in here. Um, I don't know. Let's just throw out numbers. Let's say you got $50 on it. The guy wants to pay you 30. Just say, I'll tell you what, I'm gonna leave it in my booth for a couple of weeks. Come back and talk to me in 2 or 3 weeks, and then maybe we can work out something. 30 is a little low, but maybe I'd do like 40. You know what I mean? And then maybe agree on 35 or something. But I'm not telling you what to do, but I do see that sometimes. Not so much because honestly, more people set me up with good stuff than even remotely come and buy stuff. Um, what was I going to say? But I mean, that's a way to go around it too, Carl. Just you're shutting them down nicely. You're saying there's a potential in the future, but right now, you know what I mean. So
exactly. Like I understand the balance there, but
yeah,
yeah, if I'm trying to sell it for 50, they're going to offer me 20.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's
right.
just yeah,
Just the way it is. Like there's nothing wrong with that. Like the guy who I just talked about, who's my friend now, is the guy who when I was there the first week, we were negotiating hard on a figure, and I was like, oh, that was difficult, and it was like, actually, no, we became friends after that, right?
yeah,
But it was just that I wasn't ready to let something go cheap, right?
yeah,
But and part of it too is like I'd rather get the higher price on eBay for these Funkos because they're so easy because they're sealed.
yeah. They're
So
sealed.
it's just like picture. I put it in an slightly oversized box, make sure, and it's all been good, right?
Yeah,
So in
yeah,
some ways, it's just easier for me to sell it on eBay.
yeah,
I'll get more net, really, to be honest. And if they don't sell, then I can always bring them into the booth. But it's hard. So we'll see. But yeah, so that was good. That was good. So that was sourcing. Yeah, and I took some chances. Like I got a big, copper fish pan. Have you ever seen those? Tins.
Yes. Yes.
So I took a chance on that because it was like I saw sales between 80 to 150.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
But this one I'm not so sure about because it has no brand name on it. So might have been a bad buy. But it was just something I'll bring that to the booth.
Okay.
Right. And I'll hopefully do a quick flip for lower money on that. Right.
Yeah.
And then I'll be happy with that rather than trying to deal with that online and get all the questions. And
Well, how was sales this week in the booth?
so they were pretty good. I can't complain. A lot of it. So my friend came in who I knew the commissioning with.
Yeah.
That was great because it's just more we can talk and relax and I can walk around and stuff like that. So that was good. A lot of his stuff actually sold. So I need to, the one thing I need to do
Yeah.
is I need to get one of those comically sized calculators or one of those because I made a math mistake and it cost me big.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I was selling Pez dispensers
Yeah.
and they were buying like 20 of them. Yeah, 20 of them. And I accidentally gave them 50% off. And it's just because I was thinking about the math later.
Yeah.
It's because I said, okay. So normally I sell them for about $4, right? And I said, okay, 5 for 10. And really what I was thinking was 4 for 10, right? Or something like that. Because
Yeah.
they're buying so many of these things, right? And then I was thinking about it later. It's like, oh, wait, no, that was way too good of a deal. I meant to like take $1 off each, but I took $2 off each because of my bad math, right? And I know what it is I'm trying to do the math in my head. And I can't do the math in my head. I shouldn't
Yeah.
do the math in my head. And I've seen other people like take out their calculators for very simple math, right? And I kind of see why now. Because it's so easy to make a mistake. If full price would have been 80,
Okay.
and I should have offered 60.
Yeah.
So I lost 20 bucks. Like, it's not the end of the world here. This is kind of like just a discussion about this
Right.
sort of thing. And like I have done math mistakes before, really going, okay, maybe that was too good of a deal, right? It's not the end of the world. It's $20 over Pez dispensers, like, right? But at the same time, it's like, no, I need to start using those big calculators, and I see why everyone else is doing it, just to prevent that. There was that. The other issue too is like I had a bunch of like cars come out, which like those. Remember those mini those F1 cars I bought a big lot of. So I bought a bunch of those, including a dinky. And the guy's like, "Oh, I'll take the dinky one." And I was like, "Oh, I should have taken that one out because I didn't even realize it was in the pile, right?" So he got a good deal. I said, "Okay, you got a good deal on that one." So I have to be a little careful because I find I'm at my desk, which is great, and
Yeah.
I put things on the desk to work on it, but that gets everyone's attention, and I'm not always ready to price them when it's on the desk. I'm doing the work, so I have to be a little more careful with having the stuff kind of hidden before I bring it out. You know what I mean? So, but anyways, the booth was fine. It was like I made like thanks to my friend, I'm paying rent, right? And then I get my little bit extra on top of that. But really, math wise, it still doesn't make any sense at all, any of this. So I even went early. I even got up early, Scott, to try and buy from the outside of the market.
Yeah.
But no, it was cold that day, so no one was really out. So I wasted 15 minutes of sleep time to get there. I was like, damn it. So another thing that happened was actually Tina Mack came in and met Serge with her daughter.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah, yeah. That was kind of cool. They were both
Yep.
there at the same time, and we were having discussions, stuff like that. So that was really cool.
It's like a party at Carl's
Yeah.
booth.
Yeah, party. Yeah, exactly.
The Reseller Evolution party.
Yeah. So
Now
yeah.
I'm gonna have to come so I can meet everybody.
I know, right?
Left out.
The funny thing is, the people around me kind of know I do a podcast because I don't keep it secret, right?
Right. Yeah.
But I'm not really advertising it either.
Yeah.
So they know something's up, and they know I've talked about like I do YouTube sometimes, but I don't really like share too much. I was thinking like, should I put like something in the booth, like just those like kind of the QR code things,
Yeah.
and put it to our podcast? And it's like, do I want more people to listen or don't I? You know what I mean? It's like because I
Uh,
can tell about them. Like it's not like I'm saying anything about the market that's like, against the people or anything. I don't think so. Right? I'm always honest, but I try to be, polite. So it's like if they went
yeah, we
back,
don't.
what would they hear? And I don't think I've said anything nasty.
No,
So
not at all. I mean, they're only going to hear what they deal with on a regular basis too, as vendors, right?
yeah. So I should put up a little like QR code or something if I can figure out how the hell to do that. Old man Carl over here. But yeah.
Yeah, no,
So
that's a good idea for sure.
so that was a booth. Um one funny thing that happened this morning.
What's that?
So I got an email from eBay and I'm no longer top rated
Uh oh.
on ebay.ca.
Okay.
So but on ebay.com I'm fine. Can you guess why? On
Because you haven't
ebay.ca?
listed enough on .ca.
I haven't sold enough.
Oh, it's sold enough. Okay.
You're right, because I
Yeah.
list almost exclusively on .com now, and like when I use .ca, it's just for things like remotes that are only really good for Rogers or what
Oh, okay.
Canadian company, like really Canadian
Canadian.
only goods, which is not a lot.
Yeah.
So it's not that big a deal. It means I'm gonna have to pay higher fees, I think, but honestly, I sell so few things, it's not going to be a difference, right? But I was scared for a second. I was like, oh crap, what's happened, right?
Yeah.
Because you have all these stats that go against you, and if your sales go low enough, you could have like say like I have a late or a return. They don't like returns, right? And if you had one and that's been fine for a long time, but then your sales go down a lot, your percentage could actually get bumped up by accident. Not because you made more mistakes, it's just that you sold less stuff
Right.
and that percentage has gone up. So that was my big worry. But that was a scary email to get this morning.
Yeah.
So
For sure.
whatever. I'm not going to fix it. I'm definitely not going to list things on .ca just
Yeah.
to do that. Like Amy asked this morning, well, does that affect the number of people buying off of you? And honestly, I don't think it does. Other people might feel differently. That's fine. I think it does. Does it make a difference? Yes. Like you'd rather be obviously top rated than above average or whatever they say.
Yeah.
But at the same time, how much of a difference it makes, I don't think it's that much. I think people want their stuff more than anything else. They're going to look at your negatives. If you have more than like, if they have like when I buy off of eBay, if they have any negatives, I go and look. And then if it's just something silly, like, I don't know, the postal carrier dropped it off at the wrong house or something, like I'm going to ignore those negatives when buying off them. So, but yeah. Yeah. So how was your week?
All right. I'm just going to get you. My week was actually very good. The
Mm-hmm.
weekend at the booth was great, and eBay has been very good too. Actually, eBay was on a little bit of a tear there for a while, but I did have an issue with I got a negative
Oh no.
on a
Okay.
toy soldier, and I'm just bringing that up now.
Okay, I'm gonna have to look. I'm gonna have
Okay.
to look.
So this guy has bought off me before and has given me positive before. And I'm just going to read this out to you, Carl, because I want you to know if I handled this correctly or not. So his feedback was this item arrived with a broken piece. The rifle of the rifle of the standing rifleman is broken off at the forward hand. Very disappointing. Does Scott sell broken stuff?
What the hell is that?
So I'm like, I have sold hundreds of these figures. This is my reply. I
Yeah.
did 2 replies. So this one was the reply, and then I sent him a message. I've sold hundreds of these figures, and you are the first one to complain. Obviously, I didn't sell it broken. The pictures show what you get with the original full inserts and box. Could it have been broken? If it was broken as you suggest, through the mail, which makes more sense than accusing me of purposely sending it broken, the way you did here. I would suggest to take a photo of the broken piece, send it via private message, and I would have given a full refund. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So that was that. And then I realized, well, this guy's bought from me before, purchased from me before, and I searched, and he's actually given me positive feedback.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay, well, maybe it was broken, but it wasn't broken from me. It would have been broken through, if it goes through customs, who knows if they open the package? Who knows what happened, right?
So
But I totally refunded him. And then I followed up with this: Dear Chris, I see you have bought toy soldiers for me in the past, leaving positive feedback. I received a negative feedback today and was surprised after responding to that feedback that it was a repeat buyer that has left me positive feedback in the past. The way the feedback read, I felt it was a one-time buyer. If you would have messaged me here within the messaging system, we could have worked a refund that you were happy with. I take customer satisfaction serious and would have been more than willing to work with you to ensure that. I was about to block you, and I'll explain why I had to put that in there. I was about to block you as a buyer and then learned that you had past purchases and left positive feedback. Subsequently, felt that you were being truthful about the broken soldier. Some scammers on eBay, obviously you are not. I cannot monitor how the package was dealt with during shipping, but can assure you the soldier was not shipped from me broken. Appreciate your business and was giving you a full refund. I will also send a feedback revision request in hopes that you will revise your initial feedback, as we can still make this a positive buyer and seller experience. I hope that you feel confident in buying from me in the future, as I have many, many, many more soldiers to list from a very large collection. I obtained at an estate sale. I also have a brick and mortar setup where any of the damaged soldiers, which were few, are being sold to local buyers who buy them at a discount and fix them. I have no reason to sell the broken purposely. If you have any further questions, please feel free to ask. Sincerely, Scott.
Mm-hmm.
Sound good?
I would have done things a little different.
Okay. So I put the revision request. I wrote him this explaining why I wrote the initial feedback, and he still hasn't revised his initial thing, but he has come back and bought one more item.
Right.
That has not been delivered as of last night.
Right. Okay. So here's my opinion and how I would handle it. Okay.
Yeah.
So now you said you put in a revision request.
Yes.
What I've been told by eBay is that once you reply to someone's negative feedback, there's nothing they can do on their end.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, the way I would handle this is I generally don't reply to negative feedback on eBay until I've sent the buyer a private message. Because once you put it out in the public like that,
yeah,
you can't really, you can't take it off again. As far as I know, it's there, right? And when you say, could it have been broken? If it is broken, as you suggest,
yeah,
that could come across as kind of, a little accusatory.
It's very accusatory. Yes.
And could put their back up, right?
Yep.
Where for me, if I do this, if I talk to them privately, we might be able to resolve it without having to put it in the public first, which you can't reverse as far as I know. It's out there now forever, right? And like I said, eBay, from what I've been told, eBay can't do anything once you've replied. It's now stuck on the system.
Okay.
So now if they revise it, I don't know what happens, right? Because so what I would have done is, like, your second message that you sent them, the private message, I would have started with that.
Yeah.
And I would have started with, most of what you said, I think was great. Like, I can't remember exactly. I would have said a lot of that stuff. I said, here's, there were pictures of it not broken, right? Like when you did your listing, it was a non-broken picture. I'm sorry I got broken in transit. Sometimes things get, even though it was in foam, it might have been bashed around a lot more, or there's a weak point that I didn't notice or whatever. I always believe the buyer, even if I don't, especially in writing and on here, because you're trying. What is your purpose, right? Your purpose is to try and make them happy, but also get rid of this negative, right? And then I would have talked to them privately and said, I'm more than willing to do a refund. Are you willing to revise your, and you've bought from me before, are you willing to revise this? Because sometimes things happen and it's out of either of our control. And give them time to respond and calm down. Because, when they wrote that, they were pretty aggressive, right? Like, this item arrived with broken piece, exclamation mark, 3 of those, and the rifle is standing, rifleman is broken off. Does Scott sell broken stuff? Question mark, question mark, question mark. It's very aggressive, right? And it looks like one of those things that you write when you're angry and you haven't had, you write it too quick, right? Yeah, he's upset. He might not even realize he bought off you before at this point. He's just angry, right? And when people have a chance to kind of like calm down, he might look at it more calmly and realize, oh yeah, okay, I have bought stuff from Scott before. These things happen. I was upset. I was looking forward to this thing. It came broken. Yeah, and he's gonna give me a full refund. Of course, I'll give you a revive and see. And that's what I would have done. So,
so my first reaction, like my first intake of all this, was this guy was not a repeat buyer. It was a one-time guy, because everybody's giving me positive feedback. You go through my positive feedback, everyone is happy with these soldiers. And I know I never send anything broken. So my first reaction was, okay, this guy's just a first-time buyer. And I actually blocked him, wrote the message, and that was it. And then, for whatever reason, I don't know if I was going back and looking at her or something, or maybe I went back to look at the item, and then I saw repeat buyer. I think that might have been it. And I'm like, repeat buyer? Then I realized he's bought off me, all their soldiers. So then I went back and wrote him that message. Like, could have been like 2 or 3 hours later. You know what I mean? Like, it was block, get rid of it. I'm not asking revision or anything. I just want this guy never to buy from me and just cut our ways. Then I realized, okay, well, he did give me positive feedback in the past. So then I started kind of realizing that it was someone who has purchased in the past. So I thought that was I didn't want to come off as, oh, I'm so sorry. I don't even think I said sorry. But I kind of let him know that I want to kind of mend this issue. And I totally refunded him. And I also I was about to block you. Then when I realized you were a previous buyer, I wanted him to understand that I have power to block him from buying many, 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 many more soldiers that I have to list. Because these guys are almost addicted to this stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, it's important for them to find these retired, limited, hard to find boxes. So if you're not going to work with me, I'll prevent you from buying this shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? I wanted that, without saying it like that, I wanted that to come across.
Well, I guess from my perspective, right, things can show up broken.
Yeah, 100%.
Right. So, because I've received things broken. Right.
Yeah.
So I would not, like I said, I would have given it. I would have the fact that he was like a first time buyer not makes a difference, but I would still have handled the situation exactly the same, because you don't know if it broke. Like, when I send electronics like Walkmans, they are notorious. Like 1/3 of them is working fine when I send them.
Yeah.
And they break in transit, and I totally believe it. Now, you wouldn't think this would break, but I would not assume that it didn't break. And that's part of the trust that we have to put into this stuff. And like I said, if your goal is to get rid of the negative, it would have been how I handle it. But also, I think when I send messages, I keep them very succinct and simple, because people don't read, and they're just going to read what they want to read, right? Yeah. So that's how I handle it.
Well, I'm not saying you're wrong. I just think my mindset, like, I didn't have the full story at the beginning. Exactly. So these things are selling so well. I'm
Mm-hmm.
getting nothing but praises, multiple praises. Like if you read those all my positive, people are like super ecstatic about getting this item. This is
Oh yeah,
one of the best sellers, blah, 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 blah.
yeah, yeah,
So I'm like, I don't need this one buyer for these toy soldiers. And if he wants to not try to deal with it and like hash it out privately and he wants to make it public, I'll make it public and I'll block him. That's my first thing. I don't care.
yeah.
You put me
That's the way of
right.
handling it. Yeah.
And
Um,
then I didn't ask for the revision until okay, well, this guy has bought off me before. So
mhm.
I think the mistake I made is maybe I should have tried to figure out whether he purchased off me before. Because honestly, I didn't really care. You know what I mean? But he has lost positive feedback. So the positive and then the one negative is kind of like, yeah, you know what? I mean, he has been reasonable before. He seems like maybe he's a reasonable. Why he went public with this negativity? I'll try to talk to him about it. Right?
Oh yeah, I think you went too far. To sell Scott sell broken stuff is very over the top. And but when I read that, like I said, I read that as angry, and
Yeah. But honestly, Carl, if it was just that guy, I wasn't going to ask for a revision,
no.
and because I thought it was a one-off person, right? It wasn't until like later on when I went and found it. So for me, I just wanted here's my situation, block, done. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
I get that. I get that.
That's how I was going with it.
I guess it depends on what your goal is. If your goal is to get rid of the negative, then I would do what I did. If you don't care about the negative, right? Or you don't, then
Oh, I cared. That's why I
okay,
wrote the message I wrote back to him.
right.
But I find the revision request last time went nowhere. eBay didn't give a shit. So in my mind, it is what it is. Move on from it. Like he's not going to revise it at that time. Is my thoughts right?
Did he contact you at all before you
No,
saw this negative?
no,
So
he
that
still hasn't replied. He still hasn't replied to my message now that I just read the long one that I read privately. He
right,
just came back and he bought another item. So if he doesn't, I think he has till March something to reply, like the end of March. So if he, I think it's a week maybe they have to reply or something, or 10 days. But anyway, it doesn't matter. If he doesn't reply and the other item gets delivered, and as soon as I don't hear from him again, I'm blocking him. He's done.
right,
If he doesn't
yeah,
revise it, or at least message me, listen, I attempted to revise it and it's not happening.
hmm
Um, Whatever the case is, I'm blocking him. I don't need him. Like,
oh yeah, I'm not debating that.
right? Like he's buying stuff that other guys want. Like it's a very fortunate like item that I have. Like there's a lot of people who want this. Um, but he's going to be out more than I'm going to be out, I guess is what I'm trying to say. He's not going to be able to get these soldiers at that price. I have guys driving from Guelph, sort of Brantford. I mean, he lived in Guelph, worked at Brantford, but he was like you just don't find these things. Like he was ecstatic about that. He's going to buy
Yeah,
more. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
So, and he was telling me that there's a large group and they're all on Facebook and all this kind of stuff. So, well, I guess what I'm saying is, luckily and unknowingly at the time, but now realizing what it is, there's a big demand for these, especially when I'm selling them in such good shape for pre-owned prices and not new. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you go get you might pay $150 for one that's new, and I'm doing like $99, and it looks like new, boxed foam, everything. You know?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So
Yeah. Yeah. That like all that does make sense. I guess like I said before, I guess it depends on what your goal is how you could handle it a little differently. Like if someone else like who goes to your store, right, and they look at your negative feedback, how do they feel about how you dealt with the situation for buying other stuff, right? That's my only asterisk on all of that. And you do what you feel comfortable with, right? Like you don't
yeah,
want to, you know, it's
and it was buried. The funny thing was
Yeah.
that negative was buried by positive, so many positive
Oh yeah.
comments.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, because these guys they'll buy 3 items, they'll leave a positive for each item, even though it was shipped in the same box.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I
You get
mean?
three. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's the way the feedback works through eBay. So they just hit, but some of them guys have different comments on each item. You know what I mean? It's not like like thank
A
you or
generic.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's just like, so it got pushed down, and I don't know, it's negative, so I guess you could click on the negative, but like in my world of viewing, like that red was gone down. You know what I mean? Like I'm just seeing positive. I
Right.
gotta
Yeah.
scroll down to find it now, or click on negative. But so um yeah, so my initial response, just to be kind of clear, was not, I wasn't trying to get rid of that negative feedback at all. I just wanted, here's my stance, block. You know, I mean, screw you. You know what I mean? That was
Yeah. Well, if that is a
that was my
response.
initial response.
That is a response.
And then the next one was, okay, you were good in the past. Maybe I should be a little bit more willing to deal with you.
And
I
that
gave him a
and
full
yeah,
refund. I
I
gave him a
know,
full refund.
I know. Like
Like,
it is.
he got 3 soldiers and only one was broken. I could have just given him like 25% or 30% off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I gave him full refund. It was like $100. Just here's your $100 back. Here's 2 good toy soldiers. I know you're going to glue the other one together and paint it, and this will be fine. Anyway, I know I'm going off the rails.
Well, am I good? I should check my feedback before I say, "Oh, you should be all calm," Scott. Like, relax,
Well, I don't
But
know. I don't know if I was. I would definitely say I was not calm, but at the same time, it's like, I wasn't. I'm not going to sit here and beg for a revise. I guess maybe that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not going to beg
right,
for it. If you want to give it to me, that's fine. Here's
yeah,
what I did. I'm trying to be reasonable. If you can come to the same level of reasonableness as I'm coming to, then we
hmm
can work this out. We can have a good buyer seller situation relationship. But if you're going to be a dick, boom, you're out of here. You know what I mean? I'm going to push the button and the floor's going to drop out and he's going, whoop,
yeah.
he's going down. But I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, it's all up to you, really. It's your business. You do what you want,
Yeah.
right?
Well, I
I
tried. I tried.
I think, like I said, the only thing I would do is private first, then public.
Yeah.
Um,
If you knew he
when
was
I
even if he was a first time buyer, if he hadn't bought,
yeah,
would you have?
yeah, private
Yeah.
first, because
Okay.
sometimes people get angry and they lash out, and then later you're going to get a different person, right? So that's just my opinion and how I'm not saying I wouldn't be fucking upset. I mean, wow,
So
two of them in one episode.
I
Sorry,
know,
everyone.
eh?
I
Potty
wouldn't
mode.
be upset. So
Truck driver show.
like an example is like those grapes that are stuck. Remember I was talking
Yeah.
about these
Yeah. Yeah.
vintage
Yeah.
grapes? They're
Yeah.
stuck, and eBay kept going in. Every time she said, "Oh, I want my money back," I didn't reply with necessarily how I'm thinking, which is it's not my fault.
Yeah.
Your postal system is having an issue that you knew about, and you want me to pay for it, right? I just
Yeah.
reply, you know, with not saying everything I think, but how the situation is. And then last night I got an email from them saying, "Hey, guess what? It showed up. They're great. I love them. Thank you so much." Right?
Yeah.
And if I had replied in what was in my head, it might have been a different result. You know what I mean? So I get it though. And like I said, at the end, it's up to you how you do. You do
Yeah. I'm just gonna
you
block
get
him.
you block them. Yeah. And for blocking,
The the list of shame.
the list is shame. I have a long block list now, but usually it's because they're just difficult.
Yeah.
Or it's just like you're a problem buyer. Like you're the person who is trying to find any excuse.
Well,
And you have a history, like I look at their history and they have a history of giving negative reviews to people. It's like I don't want anything to do with this person, right? But
I think eBay's great, but I wish they would put in a situation where they can't comment. They can click on item didn't arrive as scribed, item arrived broken. They can click on generic situations, but they can't, like Scott sells broken stuff. Like they shouldn't be able to put that shit in there.
Yeah.
Right? Like just unsatisfied as item arrived broken. Boom. They got to click these boxes of options. I wish it was something like that. Or it was more of like, before you write a negative, please notify the seller to
I think
try
it
to
actually,
resolve this. If this
I
can't
think,
be resolved in a couple of days, then you can come back. That's
I
going to
think,
give them time to
yeah,
calm down.
I think
And
that
then,
actually, I think they actually do that.
well, this guy didn't try to resolve anything.
I know, but I think it actually, eBay does send them that, give them that message actually first before they leave negative feedback.
Well, I think they should have to do that before they're able to do the negative.
Oh, well, you know what people are going to do though, if they have to message you first?
What?
They're going to say, they're going to repeat what they said here and then give you
Well, I don't, that's fine. Because if they message me first,
yeah.
and then there's like a 3-day wait period, I'll just say,
right.
unfortunately, this kind of stuff can happen. I'll give you a full refund. Thank
Right.
you for contacting me rather than just going directly to a negative.
Right.
And please consider purchasing me in the future with full confidence. So if you did something like that,
with a wait
before they
period
can
for
do,
sure. Yeah.
what's that?
You need that wait period. Yeah.
Yeah, because that way they're going to get this resolved
Mm-hmm.
in a positive. They get their money back. What do they care? You know what I mean?
You think they would know what to do with something that arrives broken. But like I said, when I'm angry,
like that was a little personal. Scott sells broken stuff.
I'm not saying I'm not saying their message was appropriate at all.
Yeah.
I'm not justifying their message. I'm just saying that when you're angry, sometimes people will say things that they might regret later.
Well, here's my only regret. So this is where this kind of boils down to.
Right.
I wish I never sent the private message. I wish I would have kept it the way I did with the negative. Here's my reply. And then I blocked him and that was it. Because now I'm in limbo because he came back immediately, bought another item. I also refunded him. And now I'm held hostage until he decides what he's going to do with that new item he still hasn't received yet. It's still in the shipping, right? He should probably get it in the next couple of days now. So this leaves me, if I'm going to block him, I got to block him before he buys another item. But after he receives this item and hopefully gives positive feedback like he has in the past, and then I block him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's just a rotating thing and I got to keep waiting to block him until, you know where I'm going with this, Carl. I should have just blocked him. I wouldn't.
When he bought the second item, that was before he gave you the negative?
No.
It was after he gave you the negative.
It was after I refunded him. And
after you refunded him, then he bought something else?
Yep.
Oh, that is interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe he bought it because you threatened to block him.
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know.
Rabbit hole we could go down.
I know. But if I threatened to block him, but I want the revision. So message me. Let me know what's going on. You know what I mean?
And I'm not saying you're going to get a revision. Like I get a revision maybe half the time or 2/3 of the time, and 1/3.
Well, this is the only second time I've ever asked for a revision.
Yeah, I haven't done it much either. Yeah.
The other one was a waste of time because the guy was very unreasonable.
I definitely have received revisions though.
Really?
Asked for them? Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not, like you said, it's only once or twice a year at most.
Well, I'm kind of hoping here's it's not all negative. Like I'm kind of hoping that he receives this item, it's in the condition he expects.
Yeah.
He gives me a positive, he revises it, and then I block him. But
wow.
But maybe that could be the case, right? He just wants to feel good in his mind that he's learned me the lesson and he came out and
like what's all
God actually sells good stuff now,
right? Yeah, yeah. Like I said, it's an inappropriate message he sent you for sure.
But anyway, Carl, I won't dwell on that too much. There was that experience, so that was fun to deal with throughout the week. Um,
It ruins your
the
day,
store
hey?
has been the store been good.
Yeah, good.
It was fantastic week. Um, like I've been selling. Like I won't get into the smaller stuff. I mean, there's a lot of books and CDs and VHS tapes and DVDs. But I sold a Victorian photo album for 25. A wooden canoe, which is a very miniature one, for 25. A skull. So a lot of 25 $30 sale Courier and Ives books. But I finally sold this brass fire hose nozzle thing. It's about
Oh, I remember that.
two
I
feet
do.
long,
Yeah, yeah.
$225.
Oh, nice.
I think I paid $10 or something at an auction.
Wow.
It was at an auction where they had this guy had probably 50 to 100 nozzles of various sizes,
Mm-hmm.
and um
Various nozzle sizes. Yeah.
yeah. So the market that the only reason I got it for that price is because it was flooded. Like the smaller, really nice ones went for like lots of money,
Yeah.
and I think this bigger one was kind of the photo didn't do it justice or something. But I'm just bidding on. I'm just trying to get a fire hose, right? Like a nozzle. So, anyways, it was a long brass nozzle with a red grip on it. It was in great shape,
Yeah.
but it sat there for a long time. But $225, it was worth the
Oh,
wait.
yeah. That's a great return.
Um, but a lot of small things. I won't go too much into. A hobo lamp that sat around, got $20 for it, but it was sat for a long time. Um, uh, $100 for some a cannon with some toy soldiers out of the box. A figure for $30. PS like Sony PS1 for 85. But I had probably just on the weekend, probably about 60 or 70 sales. And throughout the week was well over 100 sales for sure.
Nice.
So, but again, a lot of them are books, DVDs, comic books. You know what I mean? But to
Yeah.
me, they take up so little space and they add up. Somebody will come in and buy like 5 comics or 4 DVDs, and they take up nothing. You know what I mean? So that was good, and Scott sells broken stuff. Let's check out that store. Oh my god, what a joke! But anyway, no, I was really happy. A lot of toy soldiers, a lot of like just like averaging probably $100 on the soldiers. It's crazy. Sold some old military airplane photos. I got $50 for those. There were two 8x10s, 8x10s. Um, I well, I don't want to. I'll tell you what I sold in a second here. You know what I sold. I text you the image of that, but I want to talk about that pic too. But lots of toy soldiers. A catalog for $25 on the Polaris snowmobile. Just toy soldiers after toy soldiers. And I sold a catalog. Remember? So I don't think I said this. Okay, so remember I talked about that ceramic company and it was a catalog and I got like $95 for it?
Vaguely.
Because it was a couple of weeks ago. Well, I sold another one for $135.
Wow.
Sold a catalog on it was a shop manual for 1937 Chevy. Shop manual, $45 on that, and then there's a couple of insoles. However, I went on 2 picks this week, Carl.
Oh, wow.
One,
I'm just showing off at this point.
huh?
You're just showing off at this point. It's funny. I
Well,
don't
one
see
one was not worthy of showing off. It was
Oh,
it was pretty bad.
okay.
So I went to that church one. I think I talked about that one last week, and then it was just not very good at all. It was big kind of furniture, kind of crappy items. But then I picked up a piano bench, so I paid 25 for it because he does have some stained glass that someone's coming to look for, and it's old stained glass of an old church, so it could be worth some money. but he said if that guy doesn't show up, he'll call me back. So I bought a piano bench. I put 65 in the booth, so I way overpaid on a normal scale, but I'll still make a few bucks. Somebody will like it. But I went on another pick, and my buddy Ben set me up with this one, and it was a lot of train stuff and a lot of German wood carvings, like actual carvings.
Yeah.
Just a house full of stuff, and they're trying to get rid of all. So made an offer on some of the train stuff. They went for it. There was other stuff involved, little knick-knacky stuff, but they're going to call me back for the wood carvings, which I think could be pretty interesting. But the one train I listed, and within, I don't know, I think an hour, half an hour, it sold $550.
Wow. So this is not your typical HO common stuff, I guess.
No. Well, I'll give you the title. And I only knew what to title it because other people had it, but it was in a box. It looked brand new. Like it wasn't. It was obviously open and stuff, but it was in great shape. PFM, which stands for something male. Anyway, it's in the description. But PFM, United Scale Models, HO brass, 3 truck Climax RR railroad locomotive with original box. That was my title, but the guy bought it quickly. Now, $650, $700 comps for brand new. I didn't feel comfortable putting mine as brand new, so I went down to $550. But I think I could have got $650 for this. I think the guy would have bought it. I should have paid a little bit more attention to it, but honestly, when I did a quick comp on some of these without going into the detail of that item, a lot of them were pre-owned, were like in the $350 range, and there was 2 there. So I'm like, and then I get home, I start comping it, and I'm like, wow, this is even better. So,
Yeah. I think your price is fine. Like it's hard to tell. Like it's not new, like you said. It's not, but you had the box, you had the foam insert, it's like new open box practically, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
So I think you're in the right range. It's always hard to tell. Like it's so quick, but you gave a deal that the guy felt like I just wanted.
Yeah.
Like, if you had asked,
I'm not complaining. I'm just like, yeah.
No, it's always hard to tell. Like if you asked $649, would he have bought it? Maybe not, right? So it's always
it's just when they sell so quickly. It's like, what?
Oh, I know.
Like
I had with that for like a cross stitch, and it sold within an hour or two, and it's like. Yeah, I underpriced it, but I underpriced it because it was open box, just the same way this is complete.
Yeah,
open box. So if you wanted, like, it wasn't a lot of money. I think I sold it for 30, but if it was new, it would be 40. So it's like someone was probably like, well, for $10, yeah, if it's all there, I'm gonna snatch it right away, right?
Yeah.
So it's when people try to get 40 for their open box, which is the same as the new sealed. That's when people get stuck with stuff, I think.
But it also gets into this train stuff, which I friggin' hate.
Yeah.
And I don't like. The price was good, and there was so much, and it was in nice, clean, crisp boxes for the most part. But the smallest little detail could be broken or missing, and you might not even know.
No, you look over that thing 100 times, and then you get home, and it's like, wait a second, where's the guide rail here? It's missing.
Yeah.
Right?
Or a little step.
Yeah.
Or a hand grip. Like
anything.
A hand grip that is like half a millimeter.
I know. I have literally experienced that with trains.
Yeah.
So
there's boxes of this stuff. We'll see. I should do good. I have 2 of these. So I had the other one it was more of a corrosion because it's brass. So I think it was I don't think it's a chip.
Right.
It's more of a little corrosion thing on the other one. So I'm going to list it in the booth, and I'm going to put $500 on it because I think they're rare enough to come across that there's train guys out there that might appreciate it without having to buy it through the internet.
Yeah.
But if I was to put it on eBay, I'm probably asking $400, $350. You know what I mean? Probably $400 to start. just because it has that, it's not like new anymore. You know what I mean? It's, I could I ask 500? Maybe, I don't know. But I want them to understand that there's something, not like there's an imperfection on the top. You know what I mean? It's
Mhm.
small. It's the size of the end of a pen. You know what I mean? Like, so it's very, very tiny, but it's there. And if you rub your nail across your fingernail or thumbnail across it, you can feel the little click. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
the little bubble. So
Yeah.
probably means little, but when you're paying $5.50 for an item, it could mean a big deal, right?
Mhm.
So,
Well, that's an amazing
so anyway,
private
I'm going
pick.
to put it in the booth
Yeah.
first, see what happens, and go
Yeah.
from there. But I got some really neat stuff there too. Actually, I got some more stuff. I got a nice train lantern, probably from the 30s. It's in Germany. These people were German. Um, they had conductor hats from Germany. One was from Holland, but they're conductor hats, probably from the 60s and 70s. Um, I got some German pipes with wood carving ends on them.
Mhm.
The guy was a wood carver, and I don't know if this is fact or not, but she's running me through the house here. There's wood carvings all over the place, and he was kind of well known in Germany, is what they were saying. And they pointed to this carving on the wall, and it was quite big. It was the size, it was the length of a piano. So let's say it's about four by two and a half. You know what I mean? 4 feet wide, two
Yeah.
and a half feet high, and it was good carving. It was decent. She goes, yeah, that goes for like 20 grand. When back in the day, that would have been $20,000. And I'm like, oh, well, yeah, I'm not even close to that. She goes, no, 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 it's different here. I know that was in Germany. He was well known there and blah, blah, blah. I guess some of his items were someone famous over there would buy his items and stuff. But anyway, they were nice, but I don't know. They weren't doused in gold or anything. So, you know,
Yeah.
Um, but they really just want to get rid of it. They're going to put the house up, and
Okay.
they got to get rid of this stuff. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Right. I
Well, that's
wouldn't
cool.
mind some of the wood carvings. There's a lot of other things in there. I bought a
Yeah.
banjo. I bought a banjo.
Okay.
So
Well, that's fun.
paid $60 for it. Probably put 250 on it. Throw it in the booth.
Yeah.
But
Nice.
but yeah. So that was a good pick. It's fun. At least there was some good stuff there. Not just one piano bench in the middle of a old
Yeah.
church. And
Oh my God. It's funny. I came across another German Black Forest cuckoo clock again this week. Like
Yeah.
one, like last week, I bought one. I sold it on the weekend. I found another one, but I was taught that the weights are where the value is in
Well,
these
yeah,
things.
because I said that. I think I said
Yeah,
that too.
and someone
Yeah.
else said that to me actually at the market as well.
Oh, okay.
And so it had no weights, and it was
Yeah.
pretty rough. So I left it.
Yeah. They sell the weights and then they just give you the clock.
Yeah,
But they had a cuckoo clock too there. It was really, really old. And it was probably the Black Forest wood, right?
yeah,
This might be 1800s old. Like it was old. You know
yeah.
what I mean? You could look at it and tell it was old. But I just told him, I said, next time I come, just have everything off the walls and like put it in one spot. Because dude, this house was huge. Like it was a Victorian house, but they must have put like 5 add-ons. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
I would walk one way and I'm like, I don't even know where I'm going. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
I'm going
Those
upstairs.
Victorian houses can just go on and on and on.
But yeah, but it was 3 levels and like I don't know. I kind of felt weird, but I was like always going in different directions. And so I just said, instead of me trying to visualize everything in different rooms and everything, I said, if you can just have it in groups, I can come in and I can give you a better price. So I can like not be overwhelmed, and it's easier for me to give you a price. Is what I did say. Not give you a better price, but it's easier to give you a price. But yeah, so it was fun. It should do okay. Unfortunately, I think a lot of the trains are like I had one. One was pretty sure it was complete, so I listed it too. And then all of a sudden, the guy messages, "Does it run on track?" And I'm like, Oh shoot! Now I got to test all these things,
Oh God.
which I
Yeah,
do have tracked, but it's just like this is what I don't like about this stuff. It's
I
just so
know.
much work. I'll just probably end up throwing them in the booth. You know, that's probably what's going to end up happening because it's just easier.
Yeah, well, that's it. Like I find with a lot of stuff, it's just easier to bring it in, or sometimes like you want it to uh sell, you want the money, but you don't want to do all the work for sure. Like typewriters are like that, you know.
Yeah.
It can be a lot of work to figure out is it working properly, and sometimes you just want to throw it in the booth and say, I don't know, you take your chance. Right?
But the interesting thing is these were in really nice boxes and they were German made stuff. There was some Japanese made,
Yeah,
but there were like Fleshman and Rocco. You know what I mean? So they
yeah,
were the higher end models. They weren't like unbrand, like kind of cheap
yeah.
branded stuff. They were good brand names, and they were in there. They got their styrofoam. They got their box. They're all in good condition, right? So we'll see what happens. I'm not disappointed with it because I know I got the booth to back me up, but they are going to be a little bit work.
Yeah. No, I work is always the devil in the detail, especially for me with like digital cameras and stuff like that. It's like,
Yeah,
yeah, I can buy it easily enough.
yeah,
You can
yeah.
find this stuff. Like I
Well,
found,
once like
you know,
if it's like $50 train, it's going to the booth. If it's a $200 train, then it's worth the time to take a half an hour, 40 minutes to really
yeah,
like test it, clean it, deal with it. Because by the time it's listed from start to finish, it could be an hour. You know what I mean?
yeah. Oh, I know. And I
Like
have lots of
like
that
if you've
stuff.
got to meticulously go over it, clean it with a Q-tip or a brush
Yeah, yeah.
and photo it and test it. Like,
It's the testing that can be really hard if you're not an expert on this stuff. And even if you are, it's just like, do I want to go through it? It's
yeah,
like to the digital cameras. Okay, does it have its charger? Does it have the battery in there? Do I have an SD card for it? Did I remember to test the flash? Does it do, like it? Or I could go and do the Funko Pop, which is basically picture, picture, picture,
yeah,
and done.
yeah,
Right. So,
yeah.
but
Well, I think what helps me, obviously the booth. I've mentioned that before, but these toy soldiers. So I can do 10. Like if I was to get into a rhythm, I know, Carl. I know. You say this all the time, Sherman. Jeez, what's going on? I know I'm gonna hear it. But anyway, if I was if I was a disciplined reseller, like I could do 10 toy soldiers in a couple hours and then spend another 2 or 3 hours listing stuff without any pressure of having to get so many done. You know what I mean?
mhm.
So if it took me
Wow.
2 hours to do a train, is it worth it? Not really. But at least my toy soldiers kind of even that period out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's yeah, like
Because they're
I,
so
I'm not
easy to list.
I'm not going to throw any stones because my glass house is full of broken windows at this point. So I've tried so many different things. What if I can list something, if it's brand new, it's going up quick. If it's not,
Yeah,
who knows?
yeah. But it is nice to have that option of like you got your booth, but to
That
have
is
the
good.
booth, right?
It's
Like,
inefficient if you think of it. I'm driving an hour down there, an hour back to basically force myself to do some work and not even really getting much profit out of it. It's a
yeah,
horrible financial decision.
yeah. Well, mine's good. Mine does well though,
Yeah, well, and you don't
and
have
I
to be
don't have to
there.
sit there.
Yeah, that's a huge difference, right? Like
Yeah,
if I was going to say, would I recommend a eBay booth or flea market? I would say eBay first, then antique stall like you have, and then the flea market in
yeah,
terms of like return on time. But, some people don't like online. Some people don't like dealing with people face to face. And some people don't want the responsibility of curating for an antique booth. So, that's what's nice about this, right?
yeah. And
So,
you know what? Just our little conversation here opened my mind. I'm going to be doing a couple of shows this year. So you know what I might do is research these trains put a price tag on them, throw them in a box, and when I go and do my show, I'll just take them there.
And that's double in Toronto. Those
Yeah.
riches.
Yeah. Right.
Screw the city guys.
but it would be the richer people that it would be the Toronto people that come to those things for sure. But that might be a place to see if they sell.
I think it is.
Yeah,
like
and there's no
I'm kidding.
What's that?
I'm kidding how I'm saying it, but it's still true.
Yeah, and
if you want people with money willing to spend, you're gonna. It's not like you don't find them out in the country, but you're gonna find a lot more of them in a big city.
Yeah,
right? Like people around here, we're about 4.5 hours from Toronto. They will save stuff to take to Toronto to sell in the summer. They will save it because they know they'll get 2 or 3 times the price.
Yeah.
And less hassle and probably less haggling too, to be honest. So yeah, it's a legitimate strategy, right?
Yeah,
Take it with
maybe
us,
I'll do that, and then I don't have to worry about it so much, right?
Yeah, as long as I know you're pretty disciplined despite everything you're saying. You'll do it. Are you going to do the April show, or because you were trying to?
It's not April; it's June and September.
June. Okay.
Yeah,
because you're still deciding on the June show. Then you haven't quite decided. Last time
no, I've pretty much decided I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Unless something comes up.
Is it the sort of thing that's hard to get into?
No,
like as a vendor. So. No, okay.
No, I don't think so. I was on their website probably a week or 2 ago. But it won't be hard for me. Listen, it's not hard to get into, but they do require you to sell certain stuff. So if you're selling Funko Pops, they're probably not going to allow that. No. But if you're selling antiques and collectibles like trains and toy soldiers or old Victorian and that kind of stuff, then they're okay with that. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
It's got to be a particular item. They're not just going to let you come in and sell, modern day DVDs like a yard sale or anything.
No, they don't want yard sale stuff because people are paying often to even go into those places too.
Yeah.
As a buyer.
I mean, you could go on their website. It's Aberfoyle. They have vendors there every week, and I think you have to be there as a vendor for those. But then they have their special events, and they do those twice a year. And there'll be those special events is where I'm coming in for. It's only one day. Like you set up one day, and then you sell the one day, right? So I would love it if somebody came in and said, "I'll buy all your trains for $5,000."
Yeah,
done. But anyway, that's about it. Carl, what time is it? Anything else?
No, the only thing I noticed is eBay.com did an update to the listing page, which is kind of nice. When you're looking at people's listings, you can actually scroll through their photos now on the main page. You don't have to go into their listing, which is kind of nice.
So do I go on to ebay.com to see that, or you have to be a...
So that's the difference is ebay.ca and .com actually have different code. So on .com, I find it's more up to date. So not on the sold page, but on the listing page, you can actually look at all their pictures, which is kind of a nice little change. Sometimes they do A/B testing. So we could get different results based on which server we're hitting. So maybe it just hasn't been updated everywhere. So we won't go into it. It was just a small little thing I noticed this morning. Who knows? Maybe it's been there for a while and I didn't even notice it.
All right, Carl. So what time is it now?
Bowl of the Week brought to you by Tina Mac.
Tina Mac. Bowl of the Week.
So you can start this week.
Oh, really?
Yep. The privilege.
All right. So my bowl of the week is actually one that I teased about a while ago. Remember I said that, I got an extra one or a couple. And, so I said, you're going to have to stay tuned next week. Well, I'm actually getting to it now. And I found this twice. And one was by mistake. And the other one, I knew exactly what I had. And it is an articulated, posable Spider-Man. They're about 6-inch figures. But what's special about these is that all the joints move. So I think 2 of the middle fingers move, the wrist move, the elbow, the shoulder, the head, obviously, the legs, the knees, the ankles, and the toes. They all move. Now, why are these so desired? Not 100% sure. I do understand that it's the guys that are putting together these scenes, these nativity scenes, or they're putting together scenes or something. Maybe they're making little movies out of them. I don't really know, but they're doing something with them where they need everything, all the joints to move.
Okay.
So I would go on eBay and just kind of understand what you're looking for before you just go and buy all the little Spider-Man figures, because a lot of them are worth $5-10, right? They're not worth a whole lot. But the posable one is what you want. Really make sure that the toes bend. I think that was really important, because then you know you got the right one. If you see the toes and the fingers bending, also make sure that they have all their fingers, because sometimes they can be chewed off, which I don't think they're worthless. I just think they're worth less, But I'm looking here. I think I sold mine for like 125, but I'm seeing comps here. You know, I see a sold for 78.52, one for 60.99, 60.99. But there's a line through it, $100 with a line through it, $42. So these things are still getting in their $40 to $60 range, I think, by the looks of it. So they have come down a little bit, but it looks like they're still worth it. And there might be some, like I'm seeing one here for $171. So there might be reasons why some sell more than others. So kind of double check which one you do have. I see another one here for $111. So
is there a brand name or just all the fingers and toes move? And
well, I'll look for a brand name in a second here, because I did see one with a brand name, Toy Biz.
Okay.
Now I also had one here that I'm seeing here for $111, and it has the magnets in the hands. So it looks like it's got one magnet and it's missing the other. The one I sold had, so this is different than the articulated. I guess it sort of is articulated, but it's not the true one where the toes and fingers and everything bend. But it also has a lot of movement in the joints, but it has magnets in the hands. Okay. So I stuck it. We have like a vent over the stove, and I stuck it to that and took a picture of it hanging so it knows that it has the magnets. It actually kind of made it look cool. But so I guess I've sold 3 if you count the magnet one. But it's the articulated posable. I'm going down a little further. I see a $89.94. So some of these are still getting pretty, like, close to $100 still. So
wow,
114, 2003,
and these can be like 6 inches too. They're not,
they're not.
Some of them are even smaller here. There's a 3.5 one, and it's sold for stupid money. So
yeah, I would definitely say the 6-inch ones. The other ones could be misunderstood because of the picture. Maybe they didn't read it properly. Right. I don't know. The smaller ones could be worth money. I'm only familiar with the 6-inch ones. So I see one there with the magnets, 128.
Wow.
It says Marvel Spider-Man 2 magnetic articulated 6-inch figure Tobey Maguire, which is interesting because Tobey Maguire, when I sold my VHS sealed tapes, I sold 2 Spider-Man ones, like at 2 different times, not together, but 2 different times. And I think I got close to $100 a piece or $60 a piece for sure. Like for sure it was like $50 or more, but it was Tobey Maguire had to be in the title. So maybe Tobey Maguire is something to kind of consider. Toy Biz, I'm seeing 2003 Toy Biz a couple of times here. So things to kind of maybe think about when you're buying these things. But you'll pick them up in a toy lot or something. Like the first one I picked up was in a toy lot. Maybe I had $5 into the thing. And the other one was in a bag of other toys, and I saw him. And I'm like, how much? Yeah. They said $1. And yeah. I'm like, okay. Oh, let me see. You take 50 cents? No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my God. Like they all seem to be around, like a lot of them seem to be around 2002. There's some newer ones, but 2002, 2003, 2005. I saw 2012 as well. I'm laughing because someone posed their Spider-Man in their pictures very inappropriately. It's kind of hilarious to me. But they're not.
It was a long time ago, right, Carl? And they're still holding ground. And how many of these things are selling? There's tons.
Oh yeah, I remember you mentioning this years ago, uh, and this isn't from the LSD cartoon show time period. This is much newer than that. Do you remember that LSD Spider-Man that they used
No,
to play at lunch on the cartoons?
no.
Oh really? Oh my god, it was crazy. Anyways,
Oh, like
fun.
way back in the day in the
Yeah, way
70s?
back in the day, and it's
Oh,
like it
okay.
was
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
weird. They're like
Yeah.
they go into these multicolored mushroom worlds, and it's like these guys were hi, it's a guy when they did this stuff. But as kids, it was just awesome, right? We had no idea what was going on.
Yeah, we don't know.
I think it
But
might even be Canadian too. That show.
but there you
Anyways,
go.
yeah,
It
that's
looks
great. That's
yeah,
great.
it looks like
Spider-Man,
even with like a leg
Spider-Man.
missing, they still got $40, 39.77 with a leg missing,
Yeah.
right? And I mean, if you don't even have to read the description to know that there is a leg missing. Like he's just missing it in the photo. But yeah, the arm is broken off. They've got $42 with the arm broken. It's you know what? That's interesting too. That even with the broken pieces, like you're still making the same kind of money. So anyway, I thought that was kind of a fun one because you're going to see them out there. I've had two plus the magnetic one, so three of these now.
Oh well. Good. I always look. I'll find one day.
Yep, yep. The problem is most people aren't looking for them, right? They don't because there's just so much of that stuff out there.
Oh, I'll see Spider-Man's constantly, all the time.
But
Yeah.
it's the articulated, posable.
Yeah, not just any Spider-Man.
Just not anyone.
No.
But all right, Carl, there it is. What's your bolo of the week?
So I got permission. I'm stealing this one from Salge.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So he got a bunch of these, and what they are is homegrown Enesco figures. And most of the ones he got were boxes. Boxes make a difference, but they can still sell. They like when I look on eBay, they sell like the price 45 to 65 is what the middle range. And I kind of been taking that as kind of like the average, a quick cheating way to do it for these bolos. And it has about a 1-to-4 ratio as well for sales, which is really good. So 4 listings, 1 sale. To me, that's good. These things are hilarious. So basically what they are is animals made of fruit. And so one of the ones I'm looking at is a dog, but it's like a banana. And so this figure is like a banana and it sells for over $200. And I know he got one of those. So Salish, good for you. I'm so happy for you for finding that great thing when I was there. It's like so good. This other one I can see here too is hilarious. Is a purple broccoli cauliflower bunny, and that's over 150. And
So
I know he got that one too.
what am I searching, Carl? What
So
would I search?
Enesco, Enesco,
Yeah,
Enesco,
yeah.
space home space grown,
Home space
grown, like
grown.
growing up, like grown, yeah.
Okay.
And you'll see all these animals that are
Oh.
basically animals, but they're vegetables or fruit, which sounds so silly, but I think they're highly collectible. Now, like anything, there's always going to be cheap ones that are not. I think the boxes, people like having the boxes, but the lower ones probably going for like more like $20, $35 sort of thing.
Wow.
But when you see these out in the wild, you will never forget them because I think they're really neat. And I understand, I get why people are collecting these. Like there's this hilarious one with a bull that's made out of red bell pepper, and it's really funny. A lot of like ones made out of cabbages, or like there's some here, another banana of an octopus. It's just pears for penguins. That sort of thing. I think they're great.
They look great for sure.
Yeah, they're fun, right? And I can see why they're highly collectible. So, thank you, Serge, for your inspiration for Bolo of the Week. But speaking of Serge, hopefully he's going to be a guest on next week's show.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. Sounds good to me.
Yep. So we're gonna ask him all his experiences, and
We'll have him come on and maybe even have a bolo.
Oh, I'll make sure he has a bolo.
Since you just took this one,
I
like,
know. Oh yeah. I took his good one before he came on, right?
yeah. No,
Oh,
I
this is
really like these homegrown ones. I just want to keep going on this for a second here, Carl.
yeah.
How big are these usually? Do you know?
Like 6 inches kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. You kind
I,
of like I
I
encourage people to look them up because they are so cute. And they're, it doesn't sound like much when I say it, but when you actually see these, especially in life, they're just hilarious. Like this pig made out of what is this one? A potato is really funny. Uh, what is this one here? It's a pineapple bird. You have to look at them though. Like me describing them just doesn't do them justice.
no, you have to look at them. I'm looking at them now. I'm just thinking like this is something you would walk into an estate sale and probably find like a collection of
Mhm.
20 to 100
Yep.
of
Yep.
these,
Yeah, and people
right?
wouldn't know. Like
And
I
they
said,
wouldn't know.
like I said, not all of them are going to be that super high value, but they're all, worth $20, I would say. I'm not even sure what the lowest is.
Well, I have seen a couple 20 and I can't figure out why. Like I see one here for 14, but most of them are 35 to
Yeah,
100 plus.
I feel comfortable saying that. Yeah, and
Yeah.
they don't necessarily have their boxes, but like anything like of this, the boxes help.
Yeah. Like there's a banana dolphin for $128.
And he had that one.
Really?
Yeah,
A cabbage elephant for 164 with the box and the foam insert. Like that's crazy. But I mean there are a lot in the $30 range too.
hmm
But like anything else, I guess there's these, special ones or whatever that wow, a platypus root, ginger root platypus. Now, $171.
and I'm talking mostly used. I'm not talking.
Yeah, they're all pre-owned. Oh, well,
Yeah,
there's brand new.
yeah. There's a
But
few,
most
but
of them are.
mostly pre-owned. Yeah,
I
they're
think
not.
people when they have the box and stuff with it, they put brand new, but it's really not.
I know.
Right? Like I think it's kind of misleading.
Oh, this one here is hilarious. It's a snake with an apple from an apple, and he's the peel.
Yeah, I saw that one earlier. Yeah.
Oh, that one's
What was the
hilarious.
price on that?
$35.
Oh, you would think that would be more with the snake. There it
That's
is.
so funny.
It could be a worm.
Oh, maybe it's a worm. Yeah.
It says snake though. It does say snake on the in the title. 35.70.
This is the sort of thing I would actually show my wife.
I like the pea pod caterpillars.
Yeah, those are fun too. Yeah.
Yeah, the frog. I only see one guy using the word anthropomorphic.
That's because no one can spell it, including me.
Another guy saying it. It's probably the same person listing. But no, those are neat. Those are good. I like those.
Yeah. Thank you for showing me Saj and giving me permission to use it as the bolo of the week.
And I haven't looked, but I think the lower priced ones are probably auctions.
Who knows? Auctions or someone just priced it too low, or maybe there's damage to them. I think they're made out of like a resin, so you could have damage to them, I guess.
Yeah, but anything under $20 or under $30, really, I'm noticing right now are all bids.
Mm.
So definitely not something you would want to put as an auction.
Oh no, I wouldn't. They're not like there's 250 sales or something like that. So it's not like super common, but not like, unique stuff. There's 300 sales here, and that's on ebay.ca. So .com there might be a few more. Whatever, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They're not like I don't know if I've ever seen one in the wild. But I might not have noticed it, right?
Yeah. I don't think I've seen them in the wild. It's one of those things too. There's lots for sale, right? So
It's about 1,000. And like I said, I like that ratio. Like one to 4 to me is good. It's like when it's 10 to 1 or 20 to 1. It's like,
yeah. Yeah. After this show, there'll be so many flooded the market.
Yeah, I know. People will be going after grandmas. Well, I don't know how old. They're 2007 here. I don't know if anyone has dates on them, but they're not super old.
2010 retired.
Yeah.
I'm just scrolling through. That's the biggest. Their youngest one, I guess. Their early, that I see here anyway. The newest.
Yep.
All right, very good.
So next, comments of the week.
Comments of the week. Well, I guess as always, we start with Spotify. Do you want to read the first one, or do you
Yep.
want me to?
I'll read the first one from Tina Mack.
Okay.
Great to see you last week, Carl. Yeah, it was great to see you too. The booth is really coming together. I hope so. Long way to go. Thanks for another great show, Scott. I can so relate to your comment about the nice weather and having a beverage or four and getting distracted. That's the only problem with the nice weather. Well, we paid for it. Like, it's been not snowing, but cold and blistery a little bit.
Yeah, I got cool, eh? Like the last. Yeah.
Did you list this week, Carl? I got tons done this episode. Oh, that's good.
You just
fast
forward that one, eh?
Yeah. 2 people asked me in messages last week to repeat something because I didn't say it very clearly in the show. So, anyways, yep. Thank you, Tina.
Yeah, and hopefully the nice weather is going to come out so we can have a few more of those beverages.
Did you check for garage sales? You said you might for the last time we talked.
I didn't. I'm going to an auction this weekend, and I had 2 picks. Well, one was a good pick. I just haven't had time, dude. I haven't got a chance. You know what I did? I had a celebration of life to go to, and then I had a couple other places to go. So actually, I went to that on Saturday morning, and then I went there in the morning because it was family. So I kind of went there to help set up and stuff like that, and then I had things to do in the afternoon. So, I didn't even bother, honestly, looking for yard sales. And this weekend I won't do yard sales because I have the auction, and maybe we'll see what happens after that. But it's still kind of early, so
we still have snow on the ground here. So,
oh, do you? Okay.
Oh yeah, it's patchy, but we have it.
Yeah, no, ours is pretty much all gone. I mean, we had snow overnight where it snowed about 2 inches, and then by morning it was melted. So, okay, cool. I will let you know though when I first get my first yard sale of the year. Although Harry Humstone has been hitting some yard sales.
Yeah, he's been putting out the videos. I've been watching them when I have a chance.
So the problem is I keep forgetting to go message him because I'll watch them on the TV. So I message Harry now and then through Instagram, and he got some really great old. Well, first of all, he got the die-cast warplanes.
I made a joke about that. Did you see that?
No, I didn't see the joke.
I said, well, Scott has all the toy soldiers, so you guys should have a play date sometime.
Oh,
you have your metal, you have the vehicles, he has the soldiers.
The soldiers, yes.
Yeah.
So that was a great pick. And then he got the patches, right?
Oh, the patches are amazing. Yeah, I did watch there's 2 videos on that at least. I watched the first one.
Yeah, I watched the first one. And then he kind of went through it again on the second one, which I saw in the thumbnail, but I have to go back and watch that. The only problem is I used to watch all this stuff like back in the day when we used to, like, Tom and Tracy was on and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I watched everything on my computer, but now I don't know why I don't do that anymore. I guess because they're not live. I guess that's why, right? When they're live, you're kind of part of it and you can type in and stuff. So now I just kind of, everything I watch now is pretty much on the smart TV, which has the YouTube built right in. Like, I mean, I had that TV for years. It's not nothing new. It's just I'm now doing it that way. You know what I mean? That's where I'm watching my stuff. Yeah. I think it's primarily because everything I watch is on YouTube or Netflix. So, but anyways, my point is I don't get a chance to really message people now when I watch their videos because it's on the TV.
Yeah.
Right. So it kind of takes that part of it away. But check out Harry Humstone. He's fun to watch. He collects the old stuff. He buys the old stuff. A lot of the stuff he likes and gets is what I like to find too.
Yeah.
And he finds sometimes he gets in those houses where him and his buddy do those cleanouts, partial cleanouts. It's like amazing stuff, right? So
you never know. Yeah.
He even found a dead oh, a dead skeleton. He even found the skeleton of a dead person once,
Yeah, a real one. Yeah.
a real one.
I
So
forget what
you
happened
never
with
know
that.
what you're going to find. It's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Crazy.
Only in America.
Uh,
Actually, there is a story of a guy. So what? I'll tell this real quick. Somebody had told me once that there was a secret society that is well known throughout the world, but I won't get into that.
it's
And
not very
they
secret then. If it's well known.
it's a well known secret society. It's a well known society, but they have secret agendas that people
Okay,
don't
there
know.
we go. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, anyways, they were. I think they were like closing one of the lodges, and they were just having a yard sale, selling a lot of stuff off, and people got things that really cheap. And one of the things somebody bought was a skeleton, and they used that for ceremonial reasons or something, or like that was
Oh,
the
that's
thing
crazy.
that they were saying.
Mhm.
So I've heard it. That's the second one I've heard. I think I was telling somebody about this story of Harry's, and then this was followed into that. So they countered with that story. So anyway, some of that kind of stuff is out there. Anyway, ramble, ramble, ramble.
I know there was a they used to show this wax statue like in one of those traveling circuses.
Yeah.
And then you found out actually there was a skeleton under it. It was actually a real person.
Oh man.
Yeah. So it was a little scarier than they meant to be. Yeah. I'll have to look. I can't remember what any of the
Well,
info was
I think
from
in
that.
Harry's case, it was actually from the 1800s or something, but it was done for medical students, like
Yeah.
it was an
Yeah. It
actual
wasn't just,
university. But it
no.
was real skeleton, right?
Yeah. It was someone. Yeah.
Um, that the mafia didn't like.
Hoffa.
All right. So, second comment on Spotify is Adam Wakefield. Good to see Adam here. Do you remember? Oh, Adam's the guy with the questions that we end up going down these rabbit holes for 2 hours. So this is going to be a 3 hour show. I can tell
Uh-uh.
already. Do you remember what your first eBay sale was, and what was your most memorable sale, good or bad, and why? Carl, do you remember your first eBay sale?
Yeah, I do. I bought stuff at a auction, Spooner Auctions, who I don't actually buy anything off of because I find their starting bids are way too high to make a profit on anything. But I bought a lot of Victorian bits, like a cameo, those cameos you see all the time, some like gold lockets, but I don't think it was real gold. It was probably just gold plated, a whole bunch of trinkets and stuff like that. And I put them all on eBay, and someone bought everything and asked for combined shipping. I think they got a really good deal because when I priced stuff, I priced it with the shipping. So when they took out the shipping, they got like $15 off each item or something insane. But I was just happy to see it go.
Yeah.
Like I bought something, flipped it, and I was happy. That's what got me addicted. So yeah, I do remember my first sale on eBay.
So I don't remember my first eBay sale, but I remember my first online sale, which was through Etsy because I started on Etsy.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a Fisher Price cash register.
Oh yeah.
And I went to California.
Oh.
So, see, the problem is I started with the booth. So when I first started going online, I'm like, everything's a scammer. I got to be so careful, and all this paranoia set in. So I don't want to put anything super expensive. Plus, I'm a new seller, so they're going to recognize me as that. They're going to try to take advantage of that. So I started out with kind of like just throwing on. So I probably have some of my first listings still here because still listed because it's like, I was so concerned with the scamming part of it, which has turned out to be surprisingly, or I don't know what's the real term for that, but like it was definitely way not as bad as it felt. You know what I mean? Like
it was overblown in your
it's
head.
been pleasantly on the more positive side. That it was totally overblown for sure.
Yeah. I remember that paranoia
one of my
too.
earlier eBay sales that I remember, and you remember this one, Carl, was a pink Matador. It was a Shreddy's.
Oh yeah.
That was one of my earlier ones. So it was a Centaur.
Yeah.
It was half horse, half man. I wonder how many times I said Matador and I meant Centaur. Anyway, I think it was like number 25. It was embossed on the back and it was neon pink.
Yeah.
And I couldn't find a comp for it. I think the last time had sold was like 3 or 4 years earlier for like 70 US. So I think I put 135 on that, Carl. Is that
Yep.
sound
It was
about
something
right?
like that. Yeah. I remember I had one similar and we talked about it before. And you
Yeah.
said something like, I picked up a bag of those off the road or something crazy.
Yeah, yeah. During the COVID
Yeah.
lockdown, people were just cleaning out the garages. We couldn't have yard sales, and the thrift stores are closed, so they were putting it to the curb because we had curb pickup. Yeah, and we were just driving around picking up all sorts of shit. And I was watching Auction Professor, and he was talking about muscle men,
Yep.
and I'm like, dude, dude, Stephanie, I'm like, babe, like I got a bag of those, right? Like, so we went and grabbed them. I knew exactly where they were, and that neon thing was in there, and wow, I'm like, holy cow! So, and
I
that
know.
guy bought it like is like I would have listed it in the evening, and when I woke up in the morning, it was sold, and the guy gave me like a positive feedback. He was so happy to have that. So that was one of my earlier sales, so I
Yeah.
remember that one.
Yeah.
But
My memorable one was probably a copper pan from sold for 700 American. And I got messages like, you're selling it for way too much. I've been doing this forever. How could you ask that much money? It's like, no, I'm going to wait. And then someone bought it. It was cool though. Like when I saw it on the shelf,
yeah,
it was one of those things that screen quality. And I had to pay $25 for it, which is probably why it was still there. But it was 700 American. So I haven't found one since. Well, technically, I picked up a fish pan yesterday, a copper one, like kind of oval,
yeah.
which is tinned in the middle. We'll see how that goes. No name on it though.
I think I'll keep that neon one as a memorable one, but honestly, there is so many memorable ones, and I'm sure you're the same, Carl. But there's so many. But I'm sure you. I mean, you got the Dick Tracy doll. Like those are like huge memorable.
Oh yeah, yeah, and I found two so far. The blank, yeah, that
Yeah,
sells for 300 or something. The white box Dungeons and Dragons set, which I should have kept. I found that. It's just you do. But sometimes you go back you have to go back to find a listing or something that sold. It's like, and then you've forgotten all. I've forgotten a lot of the good stuff. It's
yeah.
like, oh wow, I got that much for that and that and
Well,
that. And
D&D is a perfect one. Like
I
I
love it.
remember going out to see St. Marie to a person's cottage, a friend of ours' cottage. We stopped on a little side road, half yard. They called it a yard sale, but it was like everyday yard sale out of a
Mm,
garage, like a mechanic's garage, right? Like it wasn't a house; it was just a anyway. And I bought a whole bunch of little toys for $20, and in there was some D&D. And the
yeah,
guy spent over $200. I think it was with taxes and everything came to like $285, and this thing was missing one piece still, you know. And it was a D&D. I think what is there an adventure D&D or something like that?
unsure. There's a whole bunch of different
But I
things.
think it was based around a cartoon or something from the 80s or
Oh
something.
yeah, yeah. There's that cartoon, but I'm not sure how it's related. Like
Because there was a bunch of little figures, and I think they came from like Adventures of D&D or something like.
oh
But it was
really?
D&D related for sure.
Okay. There's just so much of it. It
Yeah,
really like it's funny, like some of the old figures, the lead ones are so primitive and they're not necessarily worth a lot of money. They can be worth some money, but
yeah.
they go cheaper than you might think. A bunch went for like $11 on Max Sold just the other week. I was jealous, but it was too far away for me to drive to get. So, but you never
And
know.
I mean, here's another one: is that $15 for that remote control for a dump trailer? And I
150. Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
like I spent $15, but
Oh,
I
right.
sold it for three
Oh,
twenty
three.
five.
Wow. Yeah.
But it's sell if like I couldn't test it. I don't have a dump truck or trailer, but it's a remote control, and so for parts and repair, it lit up like it probably worked. It was
Yeah.
clean, but I think they go for 1,500,
It's stupid, eh?
like working condition,
I know.
right?
That's crazy.
So, um, like there's so many like amazing things. The more you look back, but he
Some of
also
it I've
said good or bad. Is there bad ones, Carl, that you can recall?
uh bad ones. Probably just bad returns, like, but I can't know. They're kind of gone from my head, to be honest. I
Yeah,
remember like I remember some bad buyers. Like one guy who was just a jerk. He like started out complaining I was asking too much, started then complained I wouldn't bargain with him, and then complained when he got it that I shipped it shoddily. And it's like, no, I made sure I shipped it really nice with
yeah,
this guy. He was just bitter,
yeah.
right? And there's nothing I could have done to make him happy except give him for free my stuff. So, but that's one out of who knows how many sales I'm at now, right? Like it's just the way it is. Actually, I'm kind of curious how many sales I'm at now. Um, I have 4,500 items sold. So out of those 4,500 items, I've had like like ones that stick out of my mind as bad, like one or two,
Yeah.
right? It's like I've had other issues. I'm not saying there's only one or two issues out of 4,500, but in terms of like bad experiences would be that. And I honestly I don't really think about them that much. Screw that
I
guy.
have 1,700
Yeah,
on eBay, but I started on Etsy, so I probably have another 500-600 on Etsy,
yeah.
right? So I don't sell on Etsy anymore. Um, so let's say at least 2,000 sales, and I really, other than the one I talked about today, and the guy that bought it was a it was a beer can airplane, like they made it out of tin beer cans,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and they made it into I think the Hercules airplane, and it had a motor in it which turned the propellers, and it would go forward, like a little motorized. Somebody had really put this together themselves, um, and the guy complained that it didn't work, but he wanted to keep it because it was so cool. So he gave me a negative, and this is back when I said, okay, this is the first time I tried to do I'll, if I reimburse you a certain percentage that we came on, I said, would you take off the negative? And he said, yeah. And then he just said, no, I'm not going to do it now.
Oh,
But
I vaguely remember that. Yeah, you're gonna
yeah,
come across jerks sometimes, but you know,
but again, those are the ones that I can only think of. Like, I can't
oh,
really think of anymore.
and to be honest, you're gonna come across jerks in real life too. Like there's one guy at the market who's notorious for just extremely low balling. Like if you're asking for $20 for something, he'll offer you like three, and then he'll get upset when you don't give it to him for $3. Like I
Really?
heard that interaction the other week, and the seller who's experienced is like, no, I'll go down to 15. That's it. It's like no, 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 no. It's like, well, you think about it, I'll come back. And she said, oh, you don't have, I don't have to think about it. I'm not selling it for that. But then someone else is telling me, oh yeah, that guy does that all the time.
Yeah.
So there's real jerks. But unfortunately, the way I've talked about this before, but unfortunately, the way our brains work is we remember the negatives usually.
Yeah.
But you know,
But I love eBay. I love the way it works. I can't
hmm
think highly. I know a lot of people bitch and complain about it, but in all honesty, I can't think like
and
I can't
yeah,
really think of a reason not to sell on there.
I think it's getting better.
Yeah, for
The
sure.
only negative I have is they have been increasing the percentage fees they take. Like you can see them periodically on a regular basis increasing our fees.
Yeah,
And because it's a percentage, that already takes, inflation into account. So we're paying more and more out to them every
yeah,
year.
yeah,
But at this point, it's not enough. And this is, it's like, what do they say? Boiling a frog slowly.
yeah,
We're being boiled so slowly, I haven't really noticed yet. But, the other thing I've been talking about too is like, okay, if something sells for 100 on eBay and I pay my, let's just say 15% fees, and people complain about those fees. I hear about that all the time, like from people who don't sell on eBay. But
yeah.
meanwhile, they can't get $100 for the thing; they can only get $50, but
Right,
they pay less fees. So that in their mind, it seems like they're winning. It's like no, you're losing. But there's no point in discussing
right.
it, right? So
Yep. And I don't think of a place like if it's brick and mortar, it doesn't matter where you are, you're still paying. You're
and you're
like,
gonna get theft there too, for sure.
well, you can get theft there, but I'm saying you're
Right?
still paying because you got to pay for your hydro, your insurance,
I
your
know.
employees, you have to pay for.
Yeah.
In my case, in your case, we pay rent. I pay a
Mhm.
commission on top of that. So I'm. It doesn't matter where you go. There's going to be a cost involved, right? So for
Yeah.
eBay to take that cost strictly on the sale is awesome
If
because
anything, it's just more obvious what you're paying.
yeah, and well, look at Etsy. You got to pay 25 cents Canadian, so about 27 cents Canadian, I guess, every listing. You don't have to really pay for your listings on eBay, especially I guess if you get a store, but you also get credit towards tape and boxes and stuff like that. And
Yeah, and if
there's
you get free listings if it's on, I think when you start.
when you start, you get free listings. Yeah,
Yeah. Well, whenever I guess you have a certain amount that's free anyways without a store. So it's up to you if you want to go. Like for me, the eBay store cost is not significant
no,
in my
no,
factor of my decisions.
yep, 100%.
My wife was asking me why, because she was saying, "Oh, there's an article here. Etsy sellers have gone down." She was asking me why, and I was finding it a little difficult. I said, "I think it's a lot of the stuff." But I said one thing that I don't like is that stupid fee.
Yeah,
The list. It's like it bugs me.
yeah.
It's weird, but it
If
does.
I wouldn't
Even though
mind
there's a similar fee really on eBay, it's
Well,
just
I wouldn't
hidden.
mind if it's a one-time fee and that's it, but
Yeah,
it renews every like 3 months,
I know. It
right?
just
And
feels
some of your
weird.
times your items take a while,
Yeah.
to go. So within a year, it's I guess it's a buck or a buck 50. Um, but at the same time, it's psychologically it's a pain because some of the items aren't selling, right? So you can say, oh, it's just that one item you're paying a buck 50 over a year. But if you have 100 items and they take a little while, like that's a big chunk every 3 months coming off.
Well, on eBay, honestly, we kind of pay too. It's just that it's less obvious because if you stay under that limit for free, you don't have to pay anything, right?
Right.
If you have like I don't know 800 to 1,000 listings like we do, right, or 500 to 1,000, we have to have a store, and so we
Right.
pay for the store. And so we are paying for those listings. It's just not as direct on that. We don't see it as direct, right? And yes, we get a coupon, but really, the coupon isn't really that good. Like when I actually look how much it costs me to buy the same stuff with Staples, that coupon doesn't really make that much of a difference. So, but I'm not
Well,
complaining. I'm
but
just
at the
saying.
same time, I also look at it this way.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't know, let's just say if you list 500 items a month and you're paying 30 cents, like, I don't know, I think it comes to 27, but there's probably taxes. So let's just round it to 30 cents item and you list 500 items. But if you can list whatever you want on eBay and it's still that lump sum.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Which is significantly less to begin with. But so at least there's no hidden surprises. I know no matter what I list there, this is what's coming out. But if I go on Etsy, not only is it hitting me when I list it, it's hitting me 3 months later because I didn't sell it. And it could be a 3 months after that because I didn't sell it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
Well, it bugs me too, right?
it's a
But like,
continuous
true.
it's a continuous grab. Where eBay is just cut and dry. This is what you're paying, and you can kind of build around that. But when there's
True.
all these surprises and shit,
Yeah.
anyway, that's
The math might be interesting if you actually worked it out because we pay a monthly fee for our store.
yeah,
So, but let's not go into the weeds. It doesn't really matter. I agree. I don't like. I prefer the eBay way of doing it. But
yeah.
let's get to the next one because you predicted that right, Adam.
Gets us in
Sent
these
us into the
rabbit
weeds for a
holes.
while. Yeah.
Yeah. All righty. We have. Well, I guess I just read the last one. So do you want to go next?
Yeah. Red Trunk Relics, which is
Julie.
Julie.
Yep.
I don't niche per se, but try and have a mix of cool, interesting vintage of items.
Okay, can I pause there for a sec?
Yeah.
So one of the questions last week was the guy from Freelton. Do you have any suggestions on a booth? And Julie has a good booth out in Oshawa area. I don't know if it's exactly in Oshawa, but out by Oshawa. So she's well known, like well experienced, I should say, in booths, antique booths. And you can also get her on Instagram. She has an Instagram if you want to check out her posts.
And she actually posts. stuff.
Yes. Yes.
Not just has an Instagram account like me.
Yeah.
Never uses it. Which would be under red trunk relics, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
My booth is only a 5x5 space, so I'm able to post on Instagram the new stock I put in, and every Saturday post what sold in my booth that week. So yeah, definitely follow her. Like every time I use Instagram, the first person I check is her. But I forget Instagram exists sometimes. We're old, you know. What can I say? But that's a great idea. I always include the vendor mail logo and information with the location link, hours of operation at the end of every booth post I put on Instagram, and I add them as a collaborator on every booth post so that they can add it to their feed if they want. This is how I advertise the mall in my inventory. The mall owners also advertise on our local radio station. Oh, radio station. That's something else I haven't.
What's a
What's a
radio?
radio? Yeah, I know. Yeah, don't they play like, yeah, I don't know.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I don't know.
Locally, people do pick up, like, I don't know what they do out in the posh of Ottawa, Carl, but
What's
in
a
a
radio?
little stickville of Simcoe, yeah, we listen to the radio still, local stations. We got to know what the weather's going to be like, right?
Internet doesn't always work out here. Last year I opened a booth for the first time in my life. Oh, was it only last year?
Oh,
I would never believe that, Julie. I sold 310 items. My total revenue was $5,398. Total payment after commissions, including credit card fees, was $4,367.19.
On a 5x5, that's pretty good.
A lot better than me on my 20x10. My rent was $2,034. My cost of goods was $1,082. So my total net was $1,082. For my first time having a booth, I had profit.
Yep.
This year I've sold.
And you gotta remember, it's a 5x5.
5x5, which is like nothing.
Yeah, like, well,
I'm not disparaging it. I'm just saying it's not a huge booth.
It's not a huge booth. However, and you can't really necessarily do this, but like compare that to like a Walmart, a square footage, how much she's profiting square footage.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's pretty good.
Oh yeah.
Right? Like if you square footage that and I don't know, like if you were to multiply that by larger sizes and stuff like that, I think that's pretty good.
No, I think it's great.
And the bigger the booth, the more options you have as far as like you could probably set more things because you could put it in the center. You could do a lot of things, right? So anyway, sorry, go ahead.
This year I've sold 86 items. Total revenues $1,328 so far. I want to beat last year's numbers. My fingers are crossed. P.S. I love spreadsheets. Yeah, me too. Actually, that's one thing I really need to do for my booth is I haven't really tracked too much because I know I'm losing money. So it's not going to affect my taxes really. But I'll get on that. I will do it. It's just, I don't feel like doing it. I don't know if I want to see the numbers. So, next one, doing it wrong. Do you want to go ahead with that one there?
Okay. Well, thanks, Julie. Thanks so much for the comment, Julie. And I'm glad you're listening. You know, that's awesome. So thanks for the comments. Always look forward to Julie's comments. Doing it wrong. Great show, guys. I don't have much to say today. Odd for me. It would be odd for us too if we had nothing else to say. Maybe I'll go take a nap. Wow. He's listened to the whole thing.
Naps are great.
We'll see if somebody else did. Remember that for Dawn? We had the right. So we'll see if she did. Maybe with a little encouragement, the provinces will look into the Chinese EV company. BYD. What's BYD?
That's the name of an electric car company in China.
Oh.
That's the name of the company.
I kind of heard briefly about that. I don't really know. I really don't know exactly what's going on there, but I heard something about it, and I just kind of skipped by it. I hadn't watched too much of that this week, so um, sorry doing it wrong. I'll have to figure out a little bit more of what's being said there. I'm not shilling them, but if 5 8 minute change charge times are for real, they would be better than the Tesla stations. So I think
Yeah,
that's probably based on what you and I were talking about. Were you talking about the time? Like you wanted to go to Lachute, and you were
yeah.
saying that there's not very many stations or
The
something. I think
problem
that's
is, yeah,
what we're
it's
talking
not
about.
even the charging time; it's the being able to charge. So
There's like nothing around.
no,
You called it a desert.
yeah, it's a charging desert because there's
Yeah.
nothing between me and there. Uh, I can, like I said, I'm not going to get stuck there. I'm just going to have to go out of my way coming back home to charge somewhere and then come home. So it's like out of my way for so extra travel time plus the charging time. So it's a pain in the butt. If I was
Yeah.
going to go, I'd just take Amy's car, to be honest. 5 to 8 minute charge times, I'll believe it when I see it, because like there's only so much energy you can pump through through a through a battery, right?
Yeah.
Now, I
This
guess
is
if
out
you,
of my knowledge base. You guys would be able to know.
yeah,
You know more than I do because of your car. But
well, I haven't looked it up,
yeah.
but it would require a lot of throughput, I think, to do that, and maybe you'd have to charge like sections of batteries, not the whole set. But I don't know. I not like for me, the charging time is not the problem because it's rare that I'm charging at a Tesla station. I'll do it. Well, now I have the booth, I might do it more. Well,
Yeah.
honestly, I do it maybe 2 or 3 times a year. So the charging time is not the problem. The problem is, like in this case, I have to think about it. Anyways, it doesn't really matter. BYD, yeah, we'll see, because I find when those cars are so cheap over there, by the time they get here, they're doubled in price for some reasons. So we'll see. We'll see. It's a whole actually on Reddit. Someone a reporter contacted me and wanted to talk to me about my Tesla comments on Reddit. So that was kind of interesting. I didn't bother replying though. uh,
Um,
next one, Thrift on
well, it
Fire.
said plus avoid the tariffs and sour tastes of buying American.
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
that all about like I don't know. Like, do we want to start buying Chinese over America? Like, I mean, hopefully all this goes away in 6 months and we're back to friends again.
Hmm.
But do we want to start buying Chinese? Like, I don't know.
Mm.
I don't know. Why don't we just make them here in Canada? Like, buy Canadian, right? Like, come on. I don't know. Buy American. I don't care. Keep our sovereignty. Open up that border. Let's travel. I don't know. I'm just trying to be friendly, Carl. Trying to be friendly. Let's give everybody a hug. Let's meet at the border and give a hug. Okay. All right. There we go. So so I read that one, right?
uh, yeah, Thrift on Fire. Looking forward to yard season. 100% boys. Yep. Hopefully
Absolutely.
soon.
I watched Thrift on Fire the other day. Again, I'm not leaving comments, so it doesn't mean I'm not watching video. Um, he still got the booth. I think it was
Yeah,
3 days ago, 4 days
yeah,
ago.
yeah,
So he was there. Um, I think he said he was going to kind of weigh out the pros and cons and kind of see where he's going from here, but he's still there anyway. So I
yeah.
sometimes I used to talk to Jamie in text. I haven't talked to him for a while through a text or a phone call, so I have to
Well,
see what he's up.
for him too, he's full time, right? So the math makes a lot more of
Full time
importance to what
reseller,
he's
yeah.
doing. Yeah. Like, and for me, I know I'm breaking even if I'm lucky. So, uh, that's why I don't know if I'd recommend it, to be honest, unless you're really good at understanding it. So,
What the markets?
yeah, the flea market, like, I
Well,
think math wise, like,
I
it's,
think it depends on location, location, location.
and I'm not talking about an antique booth, I'm talking my flea market.
Yeah,
That,
I'm talking about anything: a store, a flea
yeah,
market, an antique booth, anything. I think it's some malls are going to do better than others. Like, and some vendors are going to do better than
yes,
others for whatever reason. Like I know the store I'm at is good for me, but might not be good for everybody. Whereas if I went to another store, it might not be good for me, but it might be good for other people. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but like I feel comfortable where I am doing what I'm doing and getting what I'm getting out of it. But that doesn't mean that if I moved to some other place, I'd have the same experience.
Yeah.
So I think I think a lot of people do it and it fails and they don't think, they just kind of lump everything in together. But sometimes you got to think about what you're selling, what your purpose is there, and your market, because
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of things involved. There's people, put it this way, there's people out there buying without question. We all know that there's people out there buying. So you got to figure out what they're buying, what prices they're buying at, what you want to sell them, and then you got to compare it to eBay and say what's worth. Is it more
Yeah.
worth your time to put this on eBay or to have both or what? So
And
a
that's what
lot
I
of
think about a
variables.
lot. I think about that a lot. And it's not an easy question sometimes to answer too.
Yeah. So I personally feel I'm lucky to have kind of been dropped into where I am and how it's working out.
And you did it for years too, right?
Yeah, 10 years
So
now.
so for me, it's like I really need more $40 to $100 items in my booth, and I'm conscious of that. So next one, Dawn. All right, wieners, let's do this. Yard sale.
You watched the whole thing.
What?
Oh wait, no, that was last week. That was the wieners. The hot dogs was for.
Oh no, she calls everyone. She's been wieners is her thing. She's been doing that
Oh, okay,
forever.
okay.
Yard sale season starting soon. Let's go. Okay, I might have had a bit too much caffeine. Yeah. I looked out of curiosity for yard sales last weekend. There were none, to not anyone's surprise. Okay. Taking a breath. I think the niche versus general booth thing is just a difference in mall preference. I can see the appeal of both. Niche is actually a good idea in my mind.
Sorry, where are you, Carl?
I'm on Don's comment. Third paragraph.
I don't. What? I after caffeine, where do you go?
I read the next paragraph.
I don't have one. I don't have
Oh,
that.
really?
I have. She replied to herself
Yeah, I see that. Did you hit read more?
on the reply.
Yeah, on the first reply.
Yes.
Weird.
So what's the first thing you see? The first sentence.
All right, wieners, let's do this.
Yeah, after on the reply though.
The bigger weight, the better.
Okay, can you start there?
Okay.
Or did you already?
I haven't. I'm still on the first comment, but I can start saying the second comment if you want.
The first comment, after too much caffeine, I don't see anything.
Well, I see stuff, and I
don't even have a read more option.
I have seen that bug before, and I was on the other end of it where I was like, "What the hell are you talking about? I don't see anything."
Okay, I'll just.
So you're gonna have to trust me. I'm not making it up.
Okay, because read more is quite much bigger. So, okay, go ahead. I just can't see anything else.
Okay, I can see the appeal of both. Niche is actually a good idea in my mind as far as building a brand or whatever. But of course, there has to be fresh stuff being added all the time, stale stuff removed. Niching down probably works better in really big antique malls where you want to stand out. People come to that mall and remember that one booth that had all the glowing uranium glass in one spot and might seek it out again to show their friends. A niche booth will attract collectors more than the casual shoppers killing a Sunday afternoon. And they might pay more too if they're buying from a cohesive booth where it looks like the booth owner knows what they're doing. But that also depends on location and again, size of the mall. In Toronto, this could be it. This could absolutely work. Simcoe or Norfolk County, maybe not. Who knows? So I think I agree. Like, when I think at the mall where I am, the flea market, I think almost everyone is niched down. The person across from me, coins. The person next to them, vintage toys. The other guy down the little way, tools. Other people do a lot of furniture and lamps. So,
So let me ask you this question, Carl. Are all those guys complaining that sales are down, or do they say things like, "Well, I made rent at least"?
Both. Some of
Yeah.
them, some of them are doing good.
Yeah.
Some of them are complaining about sales. I
Okay.
think
Which
the
is
people,
probably normal. Like there's
yeah.
in any mall.
So, uh, for me, I don't want to niche down. I think it's
This is what I find the problem with people who niche down is that their only knowledge is pretty much within that, which in some ways could be a positive, but that's all they're willing to buy. So sometimes they're forced to buy things more expensive than they should, but it's because that's what they like and that's what they know. And you're not going to find those, like, I don't know. This is my opinion, and it doesn't mean I'm right, but I'm just telling you what works for me. But I find if you niche into a certain item, you're forced to buy that item, right?
mhm,
So
for
you're
sure.
not going to get those great deals. You're not because you're walking right by them. You're not going to find the camera for $1 that's worth $200 because you're not looking for it,
Yeah,
right? You're not going to find that piece of folk art worth $500 for $10 because you're not looking for it,
true.
right? You're not going to find the Maud Lewis $20,000 painting that you can pick up for $1
Right.
because you're not looking for it.
No,
But you are going to pick up that die-cast car for $20 that you can flip for 40 because that's what you're looking for.
true.
So therefore, by the time you pay your commission, like you might make $5 off that car in profit.
So, one counter to that is I know someone who's niched down and I got to know him well, right? He has customers coming just to see him,
Yep.
and he gets good money out of those customers because
Well,
they're just
what is, and I just want to stop you there because I want to hear more, but I want to kind of just ask this part too. What is good money? Like you can sell it for $1,000, but if you paid 950 for it, is that considered good money?
well, I don't know how much they're paying for stuff.
Because all I care about it is the return on investment. That's
Right.
all that I care.
So I'm just saying that he has repeat customers that are coming just to see him
Yep.
to give him money on a regular basis, as opposed to repeat customers. I don't really get a lot because once they've bought my little or gone through my little collection of whatever it is in my thing, that collection is not going to be renewed at such a pace that they should be bothered to come back and check it out.
Because you've only been there for a few months. I have repeat customers coming constantly back to my booth because Adam says it's one of his favorite booths is to go to the
Right.
one upstairs.
Yeah.
And I do not niche down. I will
No.
have cars and toys and instruments and video games and VHS and
Yeah.
comic books
Yeah.
and DVD, like, and it'll be constantly, clothing, and then you'll find some one-offs like, things that I never find again, like a boat anchor. I have people coming back all the time to my booth.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I have repeat customers for sure.
Oh yeah. 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 No, for sure.
Right. So, but I know my return on investment is always high because that's my goal when I buy stuff. I refuse to buy something for 950 or $900 to sell it for 1,000 because I don't need to because I have so much other stuff out there. You know what I mean? So the return customer thing I think is what I'm kind of really getting at is you can still be eclectic and have return customers because they like your prices,
Yep. Yeah. I'm not
right?
saying when if you're not niche down, you don't have repeat customers. I'm just saying if you're niche down, I in a lot of cases I think it's more likely to have repeat customers
Well, I
because
think I
they
think I think if you've been around for a while and people trust you or like you or
yeah
find like I know, I know there's booths in that mall, and like our mall that I go to look for stuff to buy, and I know there's many that I'll just walk by and I won't even look in their booth. And sometimes that's to my detriment because people will say, "Hey, I remember Adam finding something in one booth. Well, I walk by that booth all the time because I'm never interested in anything, and it's priced too high. But
Mm-hmm.
he found a good deal." But there's other people's booths that, based on the prices and that they have an eclectic just because that's what I like. But I'm always trying to find that diamond in the rough or that item I can flip, like the
Yeah, me
fireman.
too. I'm the same way as you, right? Like I
Yeah.
prefer that, but I think there are advantages to niching down too. I think there are pluses. So
Yeah. And that's everybody's fair for their own
right,
opinion. I
like
just
for example, like if you those trains we were talking about earlier, right? You were saying, oh, it's going to take a while to actually test them and stuff like that, right?
right. Right.
And learn about each one. Well, if all you did was trains, I can guarantee you that time is going to be a lot lower for that person than someone who just gets a new thing they have to learn every month or two, right?
Well,
Just from practical reasons that they've done the same thing over and over and over again, right? They're
right.
going to be faster.
Like and I understand and I respect your opinion on that, but my
Right.
opinion would be that I'm missing out on the option of getting toy soldiers, which are going to be something that I don't know, but still take a tenth of the time.
Well, toy soldiers, those are easy to be honest.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like if I'm strictly into trains and I know them, and instead of taking 40 minutes, I can do it in half an hour or 20 minutes, I'm missing out on that toy soldier that can take 15 minutes and bring me more money because I'm not looking for those toy soldiers because I'm just stuck on the trains.
True.
That's what I'm saying.
There's lots of things too, right? Like when you're buying and you're niche down, right? If
Yep.
someone has that collection of trains and they're trying to figure out who to sell these trains to,
Yep.
they might go to the person who just sells trains first, right? Because they're going to be more knowledgeable.
They did it in my
what they have.
case. In my case,
Well, I know. I'm just saying. I'm just trying to, there's different aspects to it. I don't know enough about it
yeah.
to argue it. I'm just saying.
No, I'm not arguing it. I'm just saying I don't necessarily agree with it, and this is
Right.
why.
Yeah.
But if somebody had a different opinion, I wouldn't say that they were wrong. I just say for me,
Yeah.
this is why I wouldn't go that route. That's
and
all.
I'd be bored out of my brain if I did.
And I would be bored out of my brain. I'm getting bored of the toy soldiers, to be honest with you. But the money that comes in makes it worth it every day, right?
Blah blah blah. Okay. Next,
and I can't see anything, so I'm just kind of basing my comments on what
God. You do the next. Okay, I got to the reply. You do the next bit then.
Oh, we're on the reply now?
Yeah, we're on the reply. The bigger weight, the better.
The bigger weight, the better. The value. I must be expensive as hell. The bigger. Who said that?
Dawn said that. She's making.
She's talking about gold or something, or what is she talking about?
She's talking about her weight. The bigger weight, the better the value. I must be expensive as hell.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm expensive too.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. I misunderstood. Trends. I've been learning a bit about them, but more for new stuff. I haven't found effective strategies for trends and vintage stuff. We'll see what I can come up with though. But so we were talking about trends last week. So but these things definitely falling and out of favor. I wonder if people will start collecting pogs in masses again.
I hope so, because I have a whole binder of them at the flea market. I need to price.
Price them. People will buy them. Like
I'll get to it.
I'm not like you, Carl. I'm not going to go through each pog to try to find the expensive one. I just put like $35 on a binder of pogs.
Yeah.
And if they find a gold diamond in the rough, that's fine. I don't have time to go through it.
Well, I have time because I'm sitting there for 8 hours.
Well, so and then you'll just sell the binder for $1,000 or
probably for $35 at the end of it.
Yeah. If you don't feel like paying for decor magazines or whatever, your library will likely have digital magazines you can borrow. Shabby chic is a trend marked now. Is trademark now. What does that mean? Trademark? Like somebody's kind of monopolized it, like cornered it, or
Yeah, you can't like, if you have Nike shoes, you can't say you make another pair of shoes and call them Nike. Like it's trademarked, right? You can't use the word shabby chic unless it's from that. It's stupid. Whatever. It's
Yeah.
annoying, but
In a market like Waterford, nobody gives a shit. Like they can
well,
you
you
can
can do whatever you want.
you can
Yeah,
do
yeah.
whatever you want. You don't have to put shabby chic on it. People will say, "Oh, I like the shabby chic decor." That doesn't make them bad people. If they want to call it shabby chic, they go ahead,
Yep.
right? But I don't think the vendors necessarily have. They'll probably put like desk. I don't know. Anyway, but the modern farmhouse thing still seems to be popular. So farmhouse decor, in my mind, can be close to shabby chic, but it's a little bit different. Although a lot of it can be white and grays and stuff. Um, my cousin's wife, which I guess by marriage would be my cousin, she's actually had her decor in magazines for her
Oh wow.
for that farmhouse look. But it can get very expensive too.
Mm.
Like it's crazy. But and there are some there some are similarities in those styles. There are definitely similarities, for sure. Um, but it's I think done is the day where you can get big money for just painting a brown table white. Like I think there's a
Yeah.
lot more consideration into the style and the making of it. Although a lot of people do use older wood and they'll make stuff out of that
Right.
the scrapped wood, So anyway, but it's almost has to have a primitive look to it too. And farmhouse style doesn't necessarily mean white. Like I think that, but you could also have like a, a pine table top with gray, painted legs
Yeah.
in the center. You know what I mean? Like I'm just kind of throwing it out there. So, um, but farmhouse is also a good keyword in your titles for old stuff.
Oh, okay.
Primitive farmhouse. That was a good point, George. Antique Home made about the differences in numbers of the boomers and the Gen X. And my generation, millennials and Gen Zs, are having fewer kids. And Gen X, I think. So who knows where things will be 20 years from now. I won't be around in 20 years from now.
Oh,
I'm probably 15, you know. I
wow.
mean, where am I going to go after 70 years old? I'm overweight. Like I got to lose a lot of weight, start exercising, stop drinking coffee. I think stop drinking coffee will kill me sooner than.
I think coffee's actually good for you
Oh,
in
is
the right
it?
amounts. Yeah.
Oh, I might live to be 100 then because I drink a ton of. But 20 years from now, it's hard to say what kind of health I'll be in. Like I'm in great health now. Like don't get me wrong. Other than my overweight, I feel good and stuff. But um, I gotta lose some weight. I gotta take care of me physically, get back into shape. I used to play a lot of sports, so I'm there's good muscle tone under all this.
Wow.
That's what I say to stuff. Anyway, what was the channel you were talking about? Vintage what? What was the channel we were talking about? That was you, Carl.
Yeah, she sent me a private message about it. I think it was like I can figure it out. You keep going and I'll say it specifically because it wasn't just her, Dawn, who asked.
Okay, I took 75 to 80 print ads to a small shop just north of here last Sunday. It's not a booth; it's a circulated store. So while we have our seller numbers on things, the owner sets things up in a way that she wants this stuff might be scattered throughout. It's a converted church. This is her second year, and I'm not expecting to sell out by any means, but I'm glad if some of them sell through the summer. It's called Blue Hands Market in Ilderton, Ontario. Branston, Ilderton. I know Ilderton is about 40 minutes north of London, if anyone is curious. Well, maybe I'll come by. Blue Hands does. Blue Hands. I might not. I might know who runs that, like personally. I don't know if I should say her name out here, but I'll shoot a message to you on the next week's comments to see, Don, if this is the. I think I know who runs that. Anyway, like I went to high school with her. Scott, I'm curious about the woman you mentioned that was doing a crazy amount of sales on Etsy and did poorly in the mall. I probably don't know her, but I'm nosy. I don't want to say her name here as well, just but I will. I will message it. I think, or maybe I'll give it to Carl and then he can message you with it. I just don't want to say people's names that I don't have their permission to say their names. Does that
Mm-hmm.
make sense?
Yeah, well, especially if you're saying like shit, you're talking about her personal experiences.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. Um, but she's from this area. Vanity Cell sets can be good. I actually found one in the garage the other day. I forgot about. I have been fooled though, thinking they were old and they weren't. I have no idea what kind of plastic you were trying to say. Gerda Perchu, Scott. Gerda Percha. Yeah, okay. I have seen French ivory celluloid and of course bakelite. It had Gerda Percher, I think, right on it. And I think I've heard it from, what's her name? The antique one that always
Nerds?
says frames are worth $200.
Dr. Lori.
Dr. Lori. I'm with you on the distractions too, Scott. I get many distractions. I kind of just give up for the day too, but the distraction for me can be anything, including naps. So it is definitely a drawback to work at home. Oh my OMG, yes, Carl, don't talk to me when I'm putting something together or I will rage. That's I wasn't raging, but I was frustrated when I dropped those CDs, like just purposely so I'm glad I was kind of nervous about saying that. Like people are gonna think badly of me, but everybody seems to be in that, right? It's just life, right? I rage every time I'm putting something together anyway. You think I don't listen to the whole thing? I am insulted. Like naps. Don't be insulted. We tested um
Randy.
we tested Randy last week, so you guys rambled a bit more after, but I am still here. Good week. Thanks, Don. Thanks so much. Anything you want to add in there?
Yeah, I got asked a couple times. The channel was talking about the person was talking about the flea market she runs, or not the flea market, the antique market.
Yeah,
it's Vintage Freen. So vintage and FREEN Freen. That's the channel. She doesn't have a ton of videos though, so but it was just interesting. So I'll do the next one from Carverman, Serge. I may try Lachute this week or next, depending on weather. It's an hour and 23 minutes for me, plus a breakfast stop. I leave so I can get there no later than 7 a.m., which is late for some. I mostly look outdoors and some indoor booths and leave so I can be home by 1 p.m. latest. Then it's nap time. Oh, God. So you leave like at 5:30 in the morning? Screw that. 5:30 in the morning. I'll do the next one too from Carverman. Serge gets up between 4 and 4:45 a.m. depending on the black lab. So that's what I'm saying. He's up anyways. My wife works from home and can start at 4:30 or 5 a.m. and be off early. She feeds Stella the lab. Then Stella wants me up and going. Oh, God. Not the morning. The next one is just it double posted for some reason. So do you want to do the next one from Nova Scotia Celt?
Okay. So just to kind of backtrack, while you were reading there, I went on quickly, and I do know the owner of Blue Hen.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah.
Tell
her I said hi. My last name's Sherman, so Scott Sherman. She'll know who I am. Okay, so Nova Scotia Celt, 5218, Mr. Randy himself. Hey guys, listening to you talk reminds me that I really want a booth. I miss having a physical location. I like it. Like, I'm not saying it's for everybody or every location is going to do well, but I guess maybe I'm more fortunate than I realize being where I am. Flatware is boring, but you really can make a killing sometimes. See, that's another thing. Like, this is why I think it being eclectic is because you're always learning new things. If you're trying to follow trends, like that's easier to get in and out of than having like, a stockpile of stuff. And you can grab things that most people aren't grabbing, like this flatware and stuff. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Mm-hmm. I
So
prefer
flatware is
it. Like
boring, but
I
go
prefer
ahead.
it.
Sorry.
But I don't know. I prefer being eclectic.
Yeah.
So myself, but I
Yeah.
think to each their own, right? Because a lot of people get
Definitely.
into this because they're in something very specific already, and they just expand it. Like comics, they are a collector of comics. They want to sell comics. They get
Yep.
into eventually selling comics. I'm not really a collector, so I
Not
see
at
it
all. Yeah.
right. So for me, it's a little different.
Yeah. Um, and I'm not saying that I don't agree with them. I'm just saying it wouldn't work for me. I think
No,
I'm kind of in the vote you are, Carl.
yeah,
Um, since COVID, yard sales have changed so much locally. Nobody starts before 8 a.m. Around here, they do. If you go to town wides, they do. Um, I would say the majority start at 8 a.m. or more. I 100% agree. I think a lot more used to start earlier, but I like finding those early ones between 7 and 8 because then I can bypass them and get the one. So I kind of, you know, if one guy comes out at 7 and everybody comes out at 8, I get a whole hour to go through that guy's stuff. You know what I mean?
mm-hmm.
I'm not necessarily that's every weekend, but I'm just saying that there might be 2 or 3 guys and I can go through them and then still be at the one of the first ones at the 8 a.m. because they haven't come out till 8, So I don't know. That's just kind of the way I look at it. Lots don't start till 9. Oh, God, I hope not. Like, that would be brutal. If they start doing that around here, I don't know. Because that means that you're not done till like 1 or 2. And then you got to drive home. Early bird does not get the worm, just disappointment.
Oh,
Wow. That sounds like your area, Carl.
yeah. Well, it's going to you soon, Scott.
Just 23 more minutes and you would have 3 hours. Thanks, Randy. Wow. And I I did kind of make up I did kind of make a boo-boo. It wasn't our longest show. I put that in the title and then I looked back and I realized, well, we did a few that were longer. So
Long enough.
I was wrong. Anyway, there you go. Thanks, Randy.
Anyways, Randy, it's the same experience here. I'm finding they really don't start before 8. I'm not saying there aren't ones out there at 7 to 7:30. It's just that you're driving around a lot. You might find one, and then you have to go back to the area you were already
Yep.
in,
Yep.
and then you have to kind of loop it a lot. So
Yeah, I do that with town wides, and I'm there to try to get. I
that
don't
wine's a
want
little
everybody
different.
to start at
Yeah,
7, and I don't want everybody to start at 8. But
yeah,
if I can get a couple of the ones that start at 7,
yeah.
I've already got the good stuff there, and I can be the first ones at the 8. And so I would say probably 80 to 85% start at 8 o'clock, but I'm not there for them. I'm there early for the other percentage.
And town wide's a little different, right? You're not just randomly driving around. You're going
Yeah, and you
specifically
saw
for
the
that
list of
town.
town wides. It's a lot different than your area. Like we have tons of town wides.
Yeah,
I showed you that website, right?
yeah. That's
Yeah.
yeah.
I know Don's going to say, what website's that? I know.
That's up to you guys. Okay,
You already told her, I'm sure.
I can't even remember.
Okay.
Next one is from Coverman. Carl, Sunday booth only has pros and cons. You get the social aspect of meeting sellers and customers, but I think the best part besides sales would be contacts that you make that may lead to other picks. Yep. Where's the con? I don't see a con. You didn't put a con there. It just says pros. But thank you, Randy. And one last one.
Oh, Mr. Ken himself.
Yep.
Great show. I did the whole show. 2, 3, 3, 4, 1. So 2 hours, 33 minutes, 41 seconds. Well, thanks, Ken.
Thanks to you, Ken.
And we'll try to, Ken, if you're listening to this show, and we said the last show we should have you on as a guest. If interested, yes, I'd be a guest. Just write that comment. But
awesome.
Because he would be a good guest. What do you got, Carl? What are you thinking?
That's it.
That's
We're
it?
done.
All right.
Put in the hopper.
We still got 25 minutes. Just kidding.
No, I don't know. There's nothing else. Anything else you want to add? Can't think of anything.
No, that's about it. I think I'm really looking forward to Saturday. I mean the weekends have been blowing things away right now, so I'm really happy with that. I got lots of stuff to do. I really can't think of anything other than positive for this week. What about you?
Yeah, no, just more of the same, really. Like I'm getting a lot of stuff out of the house, which is good.
Yeah.
Just head to the market. Like I go through 2 or 3 bins, maybe 2 bins while I'm there pricing stuff, which is actually a lot of stuff. And we'll see how this week goes. I might go a little earlier. I'm trying to make it so I have enough time. Yeah, the only issue is if I have a social activity, I'm wiped for it. So I'm actually going to have to leave early sometimes, I think, if I have something after that and go nap in the car. Which is pretty sad, but it's that bad. Because it's like when I'm at Amy's parents' place or wherever, I'm non-communicative. I'm very quiet because I'm drained, and then
Red Bull.
Sorry?
Red Bull.
Yeah, Red Bull.
Gives you wings, Carl.
Yeah, I know.
I have never drank Red Bull. Have you?
No, but I see people drinking it.
Yeah. The only one I've drank is the Rockstar.
Oh, yeah.
And it turned me into that. So Steph gets all upset because I think I'm a rock star.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you, everyone.
What is wrong with that?
Oh, man. Yeah, I don't think very much. Like I'm sourcing a bit now. I'm trying to go Tuesdays, Thursdays just for getting out of the house. And
so this farmer bought a rooster and he brought it home and he had about 30 hens. First thing the rooster did is went down and he banged every single one of those hens. And the farmer was like, wow, that rooster's pretty horny, right? So he comes out the next day and the rooster banged all the ducks and the geese as well. And he goes, oh, bugger, Comes out the next day and the rooster is laying upside down, right? And he had vultures flying over him, circling around him. And the farmer said, you horny bastard, you deserve to be dead. And the rooster opens up his eyes, he says, shh, they're about to land.
Jesus. Well, on that note, everyone.
They're about to land. Well. Do I hear another one, Carl?
No, that's it. That's it. Save that next one for next time.
I'm just kidding. I just want to know how much you're into it. If you said, sure, man, that was funny. Then okay.
Yeah, we're done.
All right. So anyway, we're here every Friday, Spotify and YouTube, audio only. Any last comments, Carl?
Nope. Thank you for listening.
All right. Well, have a great week, Carl. And everyone else, we'll see you next week.
Bye, everyone.